Maybe you thought tonight we weren't going to go on. Maybe, we got nothing to say. Maybe it's prime time and the brightest lights, the biggest stage, and we couldn't handle that real, raw energy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, think again because Sportswire Radio is back. And like I said, it has been a trio of blockbuster shows this weekend. First, we had on the controversial one, Cato, who had plenty to say about his match at Rage in the Cage. He had plenty to say about what's ahead at WrestleMania, and then he's wrestling for the Juggalos. And oh yeah, he definitely talked IMF. He definitely talked about Ox McCoy, and that's where we also announced this man who shared a locker room that day with Cato, and oh, by the way, has shared a locker room with him in other places. Then last night we heard from Austin James, who's now going to be the newest member of the LAW roster, and boy, did he have plenty to say about that. Did he have plenty to say about winning that DBW Global Championship? In fact, we're so excited tonight. Somebody was texting me and saying, hey, where is he? Get this show on the road? Well, we're going to do that because our guest here is a man that certainly is one of the most beloved figures in our circuit, in our community. When we think about the year 2024, ladies and gentlemen, this man was everywhere and anywhere. You saw him in places, whether it was his historic performance in the Riot in the Ring, whether it was the historic Summer Bash event, which he was front and center for that, whether it was companies in places like Alabama, whether it was in companies all across, up and down the United States, even in my state, he was in the Empire State. He nearly closed out the year in the Empire State, and that was some Shocky's house party. That's certainly going to be a topic, I am sure, once again. And, well, this year he is certainly starting to get, maybe back in that New York state of mind because he is now back, and he is going to be better than ever this year in 2025. You just saw him in Rage in the Cage. You saw him earlier this year in a dream match defend that All Wrestling Matters World Championship, and he's got plenty to say because this is the first time he gets his day here on Sportswire Radio in over half a year. There are very few people that are as eagerly anticipated as this guest, and boy, I'm excited about this one. Forget about, I saw Ballerina this past weekend. We saw the Baba Yaga on the screen. Maybe some would say, when it comes to those who traveled last year, this is the Baba Yaga. And boy, the Baba Yaga's got a match that everyone's going to be talking about at a wedding invitational against a headline. Well, I got the headline right here. I got my Baba Yaga in the underground and wrestling circuit around. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that my chat has been waiting for this for nearly an hour. They thought maybe I was going to finally croak. Maybe I was going to finally stop doing this, and maybe they were just sick and tired of it. We were going to just cancel forever, just cancel Sportswire Radio, but not so fast because our man is here. He has arrived. I have arrived. And in the words of Def Leppard frontman, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Elliott's "Let's Get Rocked" famous line we always use, and it is now time to close the weekend out here in style of our summer blockbuster trio of shows on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for maybe my longest intro upcoming on Sportswire Radio. Have no further. It's time to introduce our dear, dear friend. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one sports show. A man that was a part of some of the most historic events in the underground wrestling circuit in 2024. A man that has certainly made his name and this community famous. You've seen him in places we'll certainly talk about that you may not even know. He was famously the All Wrestling Matters world champion for the second half of 2024 and into this year in 2025. His name is more than simply put the real energy. Joe My friend, how are we doing?
I miss it. I miss it all. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine,
The
Tom.
intros have gotten longer though since you've left. We're doing war chants now. We're holding the note. I mean, it's you were here I think about 7 months ago, and the intros. Some people think they wait till the intro ends to come on. Others they want to hear the war chants and do it with us. And yeah, they've gotten longer. Ox McCoy, who you've shared a locker room with a couple of times already, said he went back and watched one of my intros from like 3+ years ago, and he was like, "Man, they were only like 15 to 20 seconds. Well, now they're almost a half an hour long. It seems because like Sportswire has become like it's like going to a concert. It's almost like you got to get ready, you got to get the opening act, and it has been a minute since you've gotten a chance to be here, and it is so good to see you. And welcome home, my friend."
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me back. I know it's been a long while, long overdue.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's real. I mean, I know you were here a couple of cameos this past year. I know you. We talked about you and Soldier. You were here for. I think you were here one other time. I think in a segment, maybe with Aaron Blaze, if I'm not mistaken. But really, this is the first time you get a chance to speak here on Sportswire Radio. And really, I think to many of your peers in a long time. I mean, a very, very long time. I know some of them you shared a locker room with recently in IMF. You were there, and in February you were there, obviously at Rage in the Cage. But this is the first time we get a chance to really hear from you in, like I said, over half a year.
Yeah. And like I said, it's been long overdue. It just life been life, and honestly, Tom, realistically, well, I guess this is how we transition into our first topic. But yeah, like life been up and down.
Well, how you
Yep.
feel these days? I mean, obviously we were talking about this, and June is men's mental health month. Obviously, it's a big thing to some people. Famously, one of our guests, the Tribal Cheese, actually he walked off the stage. He literally walked off the stage. He had a match in CCW over a year ago, wrestled his match, and said, I can't do it anymore. I've got problems with my mental health, and he has not come back. And we see it, such a big thing. And this month is again, mental health month for men. And obviously, how is your health these days?
Um, as of like currently right now, it's better than how I've been feeling like the last couple of months. Also like some of the people behind the scene that talk to me understand like right now Well, I'm not even, I'm not ashamed of it, but right now, the job market suck. I've been struggling to find a job. Like, truthfully, like for me, and
You
not
want to
even
use
trying to
me as a
brag.
reference? You want to? I mean, you need me as a reference. I mean, I'm trying
No,
to get a job.
even that.
By the way, now I don't know if you saw this on Instagram. Speaking of jobs, I might be able to help you because I have now put my name out there. I want to be the next head coach of the John Jay College men's basketball team. So if I get the job, I'm gonna need coaches. I'm gonna need recruiters. I'm gonna need scouts. You are the real raw energy. You have certainly traveled up and down the United States. You have wrestled against some of the very best wrestlers. You have been a part of some of the most historic events in our community's generation. Riot in the Ring, Summer Bash, Shocky's house party. So, I mean, if I get the job and I become the next head coach of the John Jay College men's basketball team, I can hire you.
You know what? I wouldn't even be mad. I know it's been some years since I played basketball. It's been a high
See,
minute, but
and
I
our
would
wrestlers, could
gladly
you
come
think
lay
about
some
our
back up.
wrestlers? And you think about this, could you imagine our wrestlers as recruiters to these kids to play basketball? I mean, we got Justin Parsley, hopefully he's okay from that concussion from Omen Black. But could you imagine him on the Zoom call with one of these kids? You got Jake Dvorak, the unholy Jake Dvorak, the All Wrestling Matters hardcore champion, a man you've shared a locker room with, a man you know very well. I mean, could you imagine him on the phone with one of these high school kids? Could listen, we got Zilla here, we got Ox McCoy. I mean, this is Chase Wakefield. I mean, well, he probably showed them you got to eat more vegetables, but I mean, we've got some of the very best that I think could help me get this job and recruit some of the best. Hopefully, they give me the
I
job.
can definitely see Jake teaching the boys how to play defense. If I don't see no blood, you're not playing hard enough. I don't see no blood, you're not playing hard enough.
Yeah,
Now,
he would probably do
Justin
that, but
Justin would definitely help them play mind games. How Justin
well,
Parsley
he
be
just
playing
you gotta
mind?
keep.
Oh
Yeah,
my
well, you gotta
goodness.
keep. Well, him and Joe Starr, you just gotta keep some of those certain things that you might want to look high for and get high with. You got to keep those away from the players, but. The job market's very difficult. Obviously, we hope I
Yes.
get the job, but the job market's tough right now. It's a tough economy, inflation. I mean, I know a
Mhm.
lot of people and owns businesses, and it's tough right now. I mean, it is a tough time right now in the job market. I understand.
Yeah, because truthfully, that's like one of the main reasons why I just slowed down. Because truthfully, I understand. I have heard being in this business, you will have to put yourself in financial struggles. But you know, if it was just me, I probably wouldn't care as much. But I got a whole family I got to take care of,
Yeah, it's
so
tough.
I'll be
It's
having to
tough.
think long term. Because I still have been trying to do some shows, like when I do have the funds. So it's not like I just fully gave up on it. But lately, these last couple months, I've been financially wise, been struggling. Um, you know, and then with me, I feel like it's really unfair because I'm one of the ones that I went and applied myself. I went to college. I went to college twice,
Yeah.
and I have the certifications, I have the degrees, just to be still working little rink-a-dink 9 to 5 bi-weekly jobs. For me, I feel like, and not like I said, not even trying to be on no ego stuff. Like I have more value in the world, but right now the
No,
world
you
just
do.
can't see me.
I know it's tough because I know a lot of people like this because people ask me in the real world for advice all the time. People ask me, they put my name down on references or resumes, and it is hard to get a job or you went to college and maybe you have a bachelor's, maybe you have an associate's, maybe you have a certain trade that you went to school for and you don't get what you're looking for and you're put in, maybe in some cases student loans or some kind of financial debt. It makes it hard and you kind of second guess. It's not the same world where it once was where you got a college degree, you were guaranteed a job. Everybody's got a college degree, everybody went to college. So sometimes it's a matter of who you know and not what you know. I mean, I'm one of the guys that has been fortunate. I can't stop working. I want to take a vacation. I'm one of the guys, I work too much and I do sympathize. And one of the things Copper Dragon had said when he was here was that when you're in this circuit, when you're in the underground, the backyard, and in the independent circuit, you have to face these decisions. And it's hard for some guys. And right now, you're kind of the example of that at the moment.
Yeah, because I cold heartedly do agree to the it's not about what you know, who you know,
No.
and unfortunately. I tried that route and I just keep getting burnt every time. I run into people like, oh yeah, I can help you. I can put you on, do this, and then they never hold their end of the bargain. And then like here I am back at square one. Like trust me, Tom, I can show you my Indeed and
Well, listen, you put
ZipRecruiter.
my name down, and if I get this job, now if I do get the job, in fact, I've even offered. I'll take a pay cut. I'm actually, most people they want the paycheck, they want the raises. Listen, I'm one of the guys. I will actually take a pay cut to take that job. So I'll make sure guys like you get that money back, so you can go out there and help me recruit those players. So I got you. If I somehow get the job at John Jay, I become the next men's basketball coach. You definitely, because you are the real raw energy. I'll make sure you get the job. I'll make sure you'll be one of my assistants. Don't you worry
Oh,
about that. So
I
I will make
I
sure of that.
appreciate that,
I'm fighting
honestly.
for it. I have apparently spoke to a few coaches, and the word is traveling. So we'll see. Maybe I will get the job. One coach said this might actually be a possibility. So I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but if I have a shot, I'm gonna help all my wrestlers out there. I mean, it's gonna be one for the ages. But I know it's tough, and I know that there's a lot of sacrifices that Let me ask you a loaded question, and this has kind of been this week on Sportswire with it. Cato kind of got caught off guard by something I said. Austin James yesterday, he was about to share a locker room in a couple months. Do you have regrets on maybe how much you traveled last year? Because this year, you haven't traveled as much. There's been other things that have come up. Do you feel like maybe in some ways you exerted yourself or overextended yourself where you put this pressure to be as many places as you were this year as last year and it didn't work out?
I will say I don't regret it. I try to always live a no regret lifestyle. I am one of the ones. I'm real with myself. So if it's something that I know it could potentially backfire and all that, I'm just one of the ones. Oh well, I'll take the punch and keep it pushing. But I'll never regret anything I do. Now I will say like the overexerting myself, not really, because at the end they that's the whole purpose of being an indie wrestler. You go out there and travel. You got to go out there and make a name for yourself. Um, Now with the whole part about like trying to compete, like how many places
I mean, you were like,
I went to.
even Delta was on here and commented about it. I never forget, Delta said he's, meaning you, are going to find out what he went through over the years. And that always stuck out to me. And when he said that,
Yeah, I will admit like it was a small period I did get burnt out on it, but I guess my mindset, my mentality towards the traveling and all this stuff, it wasn't about how many places I can go in a year. It was really like who can give me like the best quality of matches, because I never been one of those belt collectors. I always wanted to go for the big names, and I guess you can use that as a little jab at a certain individual. But I never been a belt
yeah,
collector.
I think I know who that is. And I think certainly this chat tonight's going to be very favorable toward you saying that. Whereas if that other person was here, I think this community crowd wouldn't have been as favorable. So yeah, I know the reference.
I just like I said, I'm more focused on who can give me the better match. Like I am trying to work on, can I go against somebody that's better than me? I don't want to be the best guy on the roster. I don't want to be the best guy in the locker room. I want to be that guy that, oh, I gotta prove myself to him. I never wanted to just be the guy in the locker room, but at the same time, well, not the top guy, but I want people to know like that brother right there in that locker room, he can go. You can put him against any and everybody, he can go. It's not about, because me personally, I don't care about the wins and losses. I don't care about the titles at the end of the day because they really don't change anything for the most
Yeah.
part. But it's more who can make me realize like, oh, I actually gotta come correct wrestling you. I don't have to. This ain't no just throwaway. This ain't okay. Let the kid get a couple moves in, get him his little moment of shine, and I come in. No, this is okay. This guy, he's showing me I had to come correct. It ain't, and I will admit, like that helped a lot since I have took my step away, because I will admit certain I have been in locker rooms and like my mindset has changed. So I'm not gonna sit here and just act like a dickhead about it. But my mindset has changed. A lot of this stuff was You're not trying to hurt the other guy, and it will forever be that. But you still got to make it realistic. You got to make it believable. And I looked at some of my old work, and I seen like some of the guys that I can really go head to head, really, because I'm one of the ones. Trust me, you can hit me. Just know I'm gonna hit you back. I'm not one of the ones. Oh, that hurt, brother. Calm down, calm. I'm not finna sit here and be in the corner. You chop me. Chill, bro. Pull the chop back. Pull the chop. No, I just want everybody to understand. Like, you can chop me however hard, and prime example. You can ask Kato. Me and Kato
I
shared
know.
the room one time. We had a chop off. He hit me. I was like, okay, you the hardcore deathmatch guy. Let me
Kato
see if you can
actually
handle
praised
one.
you here and
Boom.
praised you off the air. He was very, very
Yeah.
complimentary of you, Kato.
Cause yeah, like after that, we talked about it. He was like, I wasn't expecting you to do that. And I was like, no, I have no problem going blow for blow. It just I have ran into so many people. They want to dish out all the pain and all that, but they can't take none of it. And I noticed since I've been professionally doing this like now and training and all that, I've noticed a lot of people are soft. And I'm not expecting, like, I'm not saying you gotta break my jaw, you gotta make me leak or nothing, but you gotta make it snug enough to make it realistic. Cause at the end of the day, so many people now, oh, I know that was a work. I know he missed you on that. He didn't connect with that. And so you really gotta go out your way to make it look believable. Cause people already know unfortunately, we not connecting fully on punches. They already know this is we're a team and we choreograph this, and like they know this stuff.
Well, on
Realistically,
Sportswire, we still believe it's real. We still here
yes,
on
I
this
don't get me wrong, it's still real. Like at the end of the day,
side.
you can't fake getting dropped on your neck, and you can't fake getting dropped.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, but it's so many people in the world that already is out to get us, that make us look like we're just out here making fools of ourselves. So we
Yeah.
have to sit there and make it believable as we can, truthfully.
All right, but not to go down this road because I don't want to do that. I know a lot of people want to talk to you. We'll get to everybody in a little while, but there does seem like a divide right now in the community that's been here, the regulars here. I'm not talking about like my pro guys that come on, my newer indie talents that come on, like those that you've shared locker rooms with type.
Mhm.
And it seems like there are some wrestlers that there's like you got to be out there, you got to be all in, and then there are others that want to say I'm going to do this, this, and that. I'm all in. Then, like, from a talent level or what their either their wrestling ability is or where they're wrestling, it doesn't compute. And it seems like it's more and more of a divide that I've seen this year over last year or the year before or the year before that as examples. What's your thoughts on that?
Um,
Without going into certain things, because there are some wrestlers that come on here from the backyard and the underground. Some of them are here that you've shared locker rooms with, and they're basically wrestling. You're seeing them and like they're doing exactly what you said. Then there are other wrestlers that come on here and maybe they're more on the backyard side and I support everybody. Everybody knows I'm all wrestling matters. I do not shy away from that. Some have even said that's a curse, but I'm gonna stick with that because that's just who I am. And maybe it'll get me the job to be the next head men's basketball coach at John Jay College. But there are some that come on here and you can tell that obviously they're on the training wheels. They're kiddie poos, they look like, and it is what it is. I mean, and I kind of see that more and more here. And you know what I'm talking about. Not
yeah.
going into detail. We're not going to go down that road, but it does seem like there's more and more divide of at least talent. There's like food groups now. I
Yeah,
see.
I most definitely cold-heartedly believe that because, you know, my mindset have changed since I've been doing this for a while now, and now I'm in a new stage of my career. But hey, my mindset has definitely changed on it because at first I was kind of on like that, I- well, without going into them, let's just say my mindset has changed, and I do understand. Like I cold-heartedly agree that it is levels to it. Some guys, and I don't want to sound bad about it, but certain guys has a limit. They have a cap. Some guys are only gonna be backyard guys. Some
Yep.
guys are only gonna be them underground, semi indies. semi, them transitioning stages, and that's gonna be their cap. Then you got some that might, okay, they might be doing good in the legit indies, but they might not make it to the pros. Then you got some that like small percentage that might make it to the pros. Then
Well,
you
yeah,
have a
I mean,
smaller
Will
percentage.
Ospreay is an example of that. He was in the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, and he's one of those examples. Dave Jameson, who was a backyarder and is wrestling artist formerly known as Fuego del Sol. And yeah, I mean, it just seems like there's defined food groups right now. And I'm not knocking anybody at any level. You want to go out there, you're having a good time. That's what it's all about. But it just seems like there are certain guys that I don't know, they've come on in the past and they want to say, yeah, I want to wrestle this guy, I want to wrestle that guy, I can do it, but then it's almost, it doesn't seem passable. Whereas you're the guy that you've been you've seen all the transitions. You've done backyard, you've done your underground, you've done your semi indie-ish, and you've done
Hmm.
indie. So you've seen all of that. So you can speak for it a lot better than, some guys. And again, I love everybody. I want to put this out there, but there are guys that come on here who've been backyard. They'll say, yeah, I want to go out there and, I want to challenge this one. I want to challenge that one. And the abilities are, it's not what it is. You know this. And that's why I was curious your perspective on it.
Now, with a situation like that, that's when you got to be realistic. Nothing wrong with having ambitions. Cause hell, a couple months back, I was saying, guy, like, hey, I want to wrestle such and such. Like, I told you I want to wrestle
Yep.
Leo Rush, and back then, I was just backyard. But like, nothing wrong with being ambitious, but you have to be realistic with yourself. You have to understand if you want to go wrestle such and such, and he on a higher level than you, you have to work to get there. Ain't no,
Yeah.
let's just say, prime example for me. I just wrestled my first backyard match. I'm feeling myself. Hey, John Cena, me and you, right now. Like, no way in hell I'm gonna wrestle John Cena and I only had one backyard match. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta sit there and be realistic with yourself. You gotta take the time to actually better yourself. Cause like, cause you have to like build that credibility behind it. You can't sit here and only like, how should I put it? Like, you can't sit here and just stick in the backyard if you want to wrestle indie guys. You have to sit there and take that time, better yourself, work up, make yourself known in the indie scene. Get there. You have to put in the time and work for it. It isn't no, I don't care who you are. You're not gonna be no lower tier guy. Like, okay, let me stop. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing backyard. I love all y'all. Don't get it twisted. But let's just say, I made it NXT, right?
Okay.
Made it to NXT. I'm fresh. I'm fresh. Like, not even technically on NXT. I'm on NXT level up. So like the pre-show before the or evolve. I guess the developmental
Yeah.
before the developmental. Now, what sense do that make for me to sit there and be in developmental, calling out Seth Rollins and stuff like? No, I don't have nothing. I don't have no credibility. I haven't shown the time and effort that I can even hang with Seth Rollins. Yeah, I made it to, well, evolve to us is the big times, low key. So even if I made it to the semi big times, I still don't have the time. I don't have the effort. Well, I haven't put in the time and effort. I don't have the credibility to sit here and just be calling out guys on the main roster, because people, they find that in a negative light. Can't just sit there and just be
Yeah.
calling out any and every, because you know we have, and I love my boy. I love the boy to death, but Xavier Thorne. Unfortunately, he's one of those. He will
Yeah, that's
call
a
out
name
any and
that,
everybody.
I don't even want to say his name, because that's
I
one
know.
of the names that a lot of people would, have opinions of. He was a guy that fits that description. I'm going to challenge everybody. And again,
Yeah.
I got nothing
And
against him, and he was that name, and he was a guy that was somebody that Copper Dragon had mentored for a time, and he was a guy that obviously has been around the circuit, and he's done some of the things you kind of mentioned, but
yeah,
I don't
because
know.
don't
I
get
don't
me
know.
wrong, I love Thorne, but And nothing wrong with, because I will give it that. Thorne is one ambitious MF. He is one
Yeah,
ambitious,
he's entertaining.
but
I think he's
he
an
gotta
okay
under
guy personally. I like him, but I don't
yeah,
know.
and behind the scenes, not just me, but some of the other guys, we sit there and try to tell him, like, sir, you have to put in the time and effort. You can't just call out blah 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 and think, oh, that's gonna happen. You do have to sit there and put in. You gotta sit there and put the time and effort in it. And unfortunately, like, he just doing his own thing. I ain't gonna put all his business out there, but like, he just doing his own thing.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think that listen, there's obviously look, some people should do whatever they want to do. So let me ask you then this question, and obviously, I could stay on this all day, but some people are gonna obviously they're going to have their opinions. Others are going to have their opinions. And at the end of the day, each to its own. It's all
yeah,
wrestling matters on here. But so what have you learned then these last few months? You've done some different things. I've heard through the grapevine, you've done some indie stuff out there in Arkansas with MCW. We saw you last month at Rage in the Cage. So what have you learned these last few months really about yourself?
um, I realized, like, truthfully, I realized the wrestling scene, like, when you get up there, you really don't have that much as freedom. I don't want to make it sound like you just, well, unfortunately, you really just don't have a lot of freedom. Um, I have ran into, like, the people I'm training with now, like, they're very open and, letting me pitch ideas and stuff. But like, one thing I have noticed, when a promoter has a view on you,
Mm-hmm.
it's real hard to get out of that view. 'Cause like, for me personally, what I'm struggling with, y'all know how I wrestle. I am one of those. I jump off ropes. I do all this crazy stuff.
You're the real raw
Since I,
energy. You do
since
everything.
I've been doing this indie stuff, they don't like that. Especially in this area I'm in now, since they're so old school oriented. They focus on old school wrestling. I haven't been, like, I've been in the shell. I've been a shell of myself, and low key, that has took a toll on my mental and all that. But I will sit there, and don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong learning old school, and it just, I see a vision of what I want to be. They see a vision of what they want me to be. And I've been butting heads and clashing, and we've been trying to find that middle ground. And I will admit, like, I feel like we there, but we're not fully there at the same time.
I've heard this before from wrestlers. I've heard this before where promoter thinks of you a certain way or the booker thinks of you a certain way, but that's not who you are. One of the things I learned about this is that I always go back to my political career when I worked for some people who won, others that didn't. But the common theme was always you have to be true to who you are. Anytime you
Yeah,
go outside from that, it's not going to work. You're forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. Then you got to go listen to your heart. You got to be the people or the person that we know you as. I mean, again, with all due respect to where you're wrestling, but what I've learned, and again, what I've learned is that when you aren't true to who you are and what you want to do, it's never going to work in the long run.
yeah, because me personally, like, I never want to come off as somebody that's hard to work with, but at the same time, I do expect you to hear me out. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying we should go my way or anything like. But I just, hear me out. That's my biggest thing. Just hear me out. See what I'm coming from. I'm hearing what you saying. I see where you coming from. Hear me out. Because at the end of the day, you know, my opinion still matters. Because I'm the guy that's actually out there. Taking the bumps, doing the moves. At the end of the day, it's affecting me. Um,
But
I
I also
will
think
say.
it's different with you because you've traveled. You have been one of these guys that, at least in our circuit, you were in a lot of different locker rooms. You were in Alabama. You were in Massachusetts. You were in New York. You were in Ohio. You were in Iowa. You were in a lot of locker rooms. So when I think you say something versus somebody else, I think that people would take that and really take that to heart because of just you pretty much have gotten a chance to meet almost everybody that comes here. So when you say something like this, I feel like it hits more home.
Yeah, but at the same time, Tom, I always been one of the ones. I don't want to sound like you listen to me. or we not doing this at all. I never want to come off as that guy.
Well, you
Cause like,
already
don't get me
said it's
wrong.
not about wins and losses. It's not about
Yeah.
titles, but you should go out there and wrestle and be who you want to be. I think
And
that
I will
is
say that like doing like these outside shows and then coming back to where I'm at now, like it really do like hurts because when I do go to these other places, they let me wrestle how I want to wrestle.
because we
And
know
I
you. We know what you're
yeah,
capable of.
and
That's
I
the
and I
difference. They don't know
appreciate
you in
I
these places.
appreciate every promotion that has let me just be me. Like if you need me, like it's different than like if you just need me to do something, need me to fill a
Yeah.
role. That's cool, I can do that. But trying to change my whole identity basically is like that's the part that like frustrates me because I feel like that's why I haven't really succeeded where I'm at right now for the most part because I'm still trying to find like that middle ground because I don't want to sit here and just to me if I just sit there and change who I'm completely am I feel like I sold out. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm man enough. We can find a middle ground. We can find like, okay, less of this, but I'll do a little bit more of this. We can still get a mix or balance. And that's one thing I will say, like anybody that do truthfully want to like transition to like full indies and all this stuff, like prepare for it. Especially like my bigger guys. Prepare for it. Prepare for it. I can't
Well,
stress that out enough. My bigger guys prepare for it. Because they gonna sit there and look at you
ladies and gentlemen, D'Angelo Leflame just bobbed his head basically like the Baba Yaga he is, and basically said, "Big guys going
like
in."
they gonna give you they gonna give y'all so much hell. I promise you. Like if you not already coming in there big and jacked, they gonna give you hell because they just gonna see
Well,
y'all
Gary
as out
Wolf
of
was on
shape
here
guys.
from ECW. We had Gary Wolf a couple weeks ago who said you've got to be in shape. You got to look good.
Yes.
And I
Don't get me
had
wrong.
Tommy
Yeah.
Hara on last week who said that you got to have when you get to that level, you got to have the body. Savage was on here who gave some good advice because he's kind of like you, maybe a little ahead of you because he just wrestled Tommy Invincible, but he's
Yeah.
in the same frame. And he said, well, you got to have a switch. You don't want to be gassed out there. So it's interesting that you're saying kind of the same things, but in a different way than some of these guys that have been on here recently.
Yeah, because you know, I agree. You do have to be in shape. Cause like even me, y'all see, I'm a like this is the biggest I've ever been. But in the past, I've been a skinny individual, and I
Yeah.
thought I was in shape. Played sports, done this, and then still not in shape. I still get gas to this day. It's like, but with I have personally seen with bigger guys, they don't mean it in a harsh way, but they so hard on bigger guys because all they see is, oh, that
Money.
motherfucker's out of shape. He's gonna get
But also the
gassed.
big
And some
guys
of these big
historically, if they're in shape, they draw a lot of money. I mean, that's just promoters see that and they want them to look a certain way. And I mean, you're not a short guy. You were never out of shape, but for you to say these things, that's kind of is eye opening a little bit because again of your journeys because you've been in all the food groups. I mean, you're actually one of
yeah,
the guys that has been in all the food groups we just talked about.
because like I said, they see me as out of shape, and I never been really just big or nothing. And I thought I was doing good cardio wise. Like I used to, like I still work out, but not as much as how they got me now. I used to just do simple cardio stuff, like if I just had the free time, I pump a couple push-ups, do a couple sit like little stuff. But now they expect you to be in the gym like well, not even two, really 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
I'm on a whole. They got me on a whole meal plan. I'm on a diet and all this. Like
Savage
when
talked about that when he was here last month. Savage lost 30 something pounds and he said he's completely on another level right now in terms of the way he eats and I think he's actually down 50 something pounds from like 5 years ago from what he was. And I just saw him at Battlefield and yeah, he looks now like when we saw him in Massachusetts to now, like it's night and day of a difference. He was in good shape then, but now it's like you said, that adjustment.
for like me, I'm on the opposite end. They want me to bulk up, so I had to eat a lot more. And I will admit, like my metabolism always been a problem, and it's finally slowing down, unfortunately. But I
What's
want to
the
say the
diet
biggest.
then? So what's the diet these days? Because
I kid
guys
you
are
not.
now starting to come in the chat.
I kid you not. I have a whole like reminders that pops up. So one gonna pop up a couple minutes after, but basically they told me to eat nothing but like tuna, brown rice, of course the vegetables. I can eat uh
Maybe you
grilled
should be.
chicken.
When I get the job, you can probably could be our dietitian. You could be our nutritionist. Then maybe you could get a job now with the Bloodhound when I get the
I'll
job.
do it, but truthfully,
Well, it
um,
pays. It pays this job. It pays. So you can get paid for this
uh,
job.
the biggest it got me to was like I was like maybe 240, two
Oh
thirty
wow. Okay.
seven. I got up
Yeah.
there then. Unfortunately, my metabolism kicked in, and now I'm back at
Oh
like 222. So I'm struggling because I feel like that's another thing. They want me to be bigger, but my body is not letting me right now. Like the most I got a gut right now. But you see my arms, like they got.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you have like old. You can probably go watch the old videos. Like my arms, like clearly got a little bit bigger, like a little bit bigger. But
Yeah.
like I always like I do the workouts, I lift. When I go to training, do the we do the drills and all this stuff. Like I sit here and try to be actively, I try to work out as much as I can, but right now it's just not working for me. Of course, maybe give me 5 more years when I'm a little bit older and the body slow down a bit. I might get a little bit bigger then.
You know what?
But
Listen, I mean, it is a thing as we're here with D'Angelo Leflame, who makes his long-awaited return to Sportswire Radio for the first time in more than half a year. We'll get to everybody in the chat in a few minutes. A lot of people have been waiting to talk to you a long time, and I want to thank everybody for their patience. But you do notice it, and again, I get all the food groups on here, like you, and in the underground, you could probably pass off with a certain way. In the backyard, obviously, it don't matter. But when you start to move up the ranks, I think it does matter. I think it does matter. I mean, sure, people are going to say, well, Samoa Joe did well. And, there's other names you think about that they didn't have the,
yeah,
body but,
um,
but I think more or less, I think you should. You got to look good. You got to look the part. I mean, listen, I get musicians on, and all of them look the certain way. I think you got to, if you're going to really make it. I'm not talking about being on a backyard company. I'm not talking about being on an underground, YouTube only. If you're going to want to really move up the ranks, I think by and large, you got to look good. I mean, that's my perspective, and I see it enough. I see it enough.
yeah, because don't get me wrong, you always gonna have that one guy. Well, Samoa Joe do it. Kevin Owens do it. And don't get me wrong, yes, I agree. But like with with most of these trainers and so like I've been going to a lot of seminars, but like with a lot of these trainers sit there and tell you like Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, they put in the time and work. They
Absolutely.
can get away with that. You just a random like they just gonna be flat out with you're just a random guy. You can't get away with that. And
No.
they'll sit there and like clearly, Samoa and Kevin, they've been doing it for years. Of course they can get away with it. They can do whatever they please at this point. You
Yeah,
know.
obviously.
Um it just you do have to understand your place as well. I will say that. Like for me, that this is the unfortunate hard life truth. That backyard stuff, they don't care. They don't give one absolute beep about that. So to
No,
me,
obviously no, because in the backyard you are wrestling for you. You're basically your own boss, your own character. So that's why some guys stay in the backyard. Listen, Delta was here famously and talked about his training, and he had his issues with it. James Taylor's talked about it famously. I mean, there's
because
some guys that go and train and it doesn't work out for them, and they
yeah,
decide. Like, CJ Black is one of the most skilled workers, and he's not really trained, but he talked about he
and
learned himself kind of like a guitar player. So not everybody's
that's
trained. Some
and
people go through
that's
it and they
prime
have different
example.
experiences.
That's prime example why I do sit here and still defend backyard and all because some of my peers, and I don't hate them for it, but since they evolved and went to the next level, their mindset has changed. They don't
Yeah.
really defend the backyard like they used to. But that's my biggest
Which I
thing.
do
Like
disagree with, by the way. I have been very famous about that. I know you can say nothing because you're trying to move up the rank, but I will proudly say I will always defend the backyard guys and the underground guys because I do believe that it's the same thing as like if you go and again, I know if I get the job at John Jay, they're going to certainly remember this. Don't let them clip it, but I look at it. If you go out and play basketball, we were both basketball players. Maybe I played sometimes in the schoolyard. Maybe other times I played in a church league. Maybe other times I played in my backyard. But it's still basketball, right? If you wrestle, right, you're putting your whether it's on the ground, whether it's on a mat, whether it's on against a trampoline, whether it's in a ring, whatever, or it's no ropes, no ring. I do believe that you are going out and competing, and that's why I don't look. I will continue to support all guys at all levels because I do believe that you should go out there and do what you want to do. But now, certainly, I think if you're going to look to move to the next level, you have to
Yeah,
do certain things.
and that's what
You
I was about
know,
to say. 'Cause like I said, some of my peers they completely changed the whole 360, right? And I agree to a certain extent. I'm one of the ones, like you just said. I don't care if you're doing it on a mattress, because at the end of the day, you're still taking them bumps. That's still experience,
yeah,
this and that and the third. But
100%.
this is where I draw the line personally. If you're just gonna be a backyard guy but you want to work an indie show, no. Like how I see it is you do have to go take that step. You can't just sit here and just be a backyard guy all your life and then expect to, make it to the bigger shows. No, you're gonna have to go to a school,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's where the line is drawn. And at first I was kind of fighting it, but now, since I've been doing it for this amount of time now, and they opened my mind to it. Because I will admit, I was so closed-minded about it, because like, you're not gonna sit here and talk about the backyard, you're not gonna bash it, that's where I came from, I made my name, blah blah. But basically they opened my eyes to it. It's more of the thing, like, when you go to these schools, that's when you fully showing like the respect of the business, because you're taking the proper steps of doing it. You're not just out here, you know, doing some crazy stuff and potentially hurting. You're not being unsafe. And don't
yeah.
get me wrong, it's a lot of guys in the backyard that are safe, but I can't remember the exact words they told me, because I told them, like, I have been around a lot of backyard guys that's safe. Um, but I forgot word for word. But basically, it's just like, that's how you're showing your respect to the business. Because, just a couple with my last interview, or the interview before, I was anti-school. I will
I
admit,
know you were like,
yeah, I was
but
anti-school. Trust me.
I know because because what it is some guys have had those experiences. They go to a school, they pay a few $1,000s, and it's not uncommon to just this platform's usuals that come in, but everybody's and you don't get what you paid for. You got robbed. Listen, my buddy Chris
Mhm.
Urban was lucky, who's a pro wrestler, and he wrestles here in the tri-state area, but it took him 5 years. He got trained by Amazing Red, and he really, like, I remember talking with him on the phone while he was doing training, and I interviewed him a long time ago, and it is not easy, but
It's
I think
not at
that
all.
but I do think that, look, even with this, right? I tell people all the time, I do a news show. I do it with Maheshi Tishlo came on here, right? I'm trained to do this. I'm trained because I have the experience. I've gone out there, I've done other things. So I learned how to talk. It's like, in some ways, if I'm going to make it to the big time, I'm going to make it to a level like, let's say, Rad Dad, who's going to wrestle Darius Carter coming up, or let's say Day Jameson, or let's say Godric Sandwell that comes on here, or just, a lot of different people. Or how about Mr. CJ Blaine winking a nod? I mean, you got to have some training. I do think that it's good, to learn something, and that's the way you kind of go. I mean, there's not too many wrestlers I know in WWE that aren't trained of some sort. I mean, unless somebody
Yeah.
wants to fact check me. I know I famously said, D'Angelo, I haven't watched Raw once on Netflix the entire year because I don't have Netflix. But I mean, as far as I know, you should want to go out and take some level of a class or whatever that might be. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And truthfully, you don't even have to just, like, you can still go to a wrestling school, and you don't even have to go pursue indies and all that. You can just go to training school, learn how to better your craft, then pass it on to the backyard guy, so you can evolve
Yeah.
the product. If you just want to be a backyard guy, if you just want to be an underground guy, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying, oh, if you go to training school, you have to be an indie, you have to go pro. No,
But your
no.
mindset's
It's a lot of,
changed then since the last time you came here. You see,
yes, most,
as you did talk about that it wasn't as valuable to you to
It
go to a
yeah.
school. But now you see, because you've seen that it is valuable. And you listen, you were at Rage in the Cage. One of your opponents in that match was this guy Damian Saint, who's a very well respected wrestler. I mean, outside of IMF, he's done a lot, and he's been a huge part of IMF the last year. And we'll definitely talk about the IMF. You know, I'm going to ask you about that in a little bit. But I mean, Damian Saint's a prime example of a guy that's a very successful wrestler, and he's trained very successful.
Yeah, because that's one of my goals. Not goals, but like one of the things I'm staying true to. Like, yes, even though I'm getting trained, I'm doing indie shows and all, I still come back to my roots. Because I want guys to understand like that. Just because I'm trained don't make me no different from you. I'm still one of the boys. I still get down and dirty when I need to. Because like I said, my main goal is to merge all this together. I don't want it to be backyard.
Well, Rad Dad has done that. Rad Dad is who you're
I
going to be
don't.
on the show with. I mean, so some guys have done it. I mean, James Fury was here, and he doesn't have a problem with it. He trained with CJ and some of the ROEW guys. He went back there, I think, like 4 months ago and did some stuff with them. It was on Instagram. So there are some guys that are in the backyard still that, Aaron Jones, a guy that you're going to share a locker room. He's wrestled the Barbarian. He still goes out there with backyard guys. So it's not, I think there are guys that do believe in what you believe. And I think that, you're going to do some great things. You're going to represent us. I got a lot of people that want to talk to you. Let me get to the chat because there are so many questions you have. They've been
Okay.
waiting for this. They're really waiting for this. And speaking of somebody that's waiting for this, Mr. Sean Jovi. Wasn't Zilla here first. It was my buddy Sean Jovi who's got the eyeballs out. And speaking of things, and I'm very happy he brought this up, or somebody did, is we have a YouTube channel for our friends over at the All Wrestling Matters archives. And D'Angelo Leflame is definitely a front and center vocal point of that. So you must certainly hit the sub button for them. Please do so. I would certainly recommend it because there's a lot of content that we've been so fortunate and blessed over these past 18 or so months to be able to promote and such. So do me a favor, go out there, hit the sub button for All Wrestling Matters. A lot of great content. You see D Savage, who just wrestled Tommy Invincible this past Friday, and a number of talents that are a part of these great shows. I mean, so many people. Drake Gold Dragon. I mean, you can go up and down the list. Big Man Cam, who, by the way, Big Man Cam is out there training like you. He talked about that when he was here a few months ago on his birthday. So, there are guys that are doing what you're doing, and hit the sub button for the All Wrestling Matters archives. Thank you for that here. Zilla is here. She is very excited about that, as we are. And hello. Ox McCoy, a man that you shared a locker room with. So you got any Ox stories, anything you want to say about what was it like sharing a locker room with Ox now a couple times? One of
Um,
our usuals, the man, the myth, the legend, the hardcore champion.
that brother Ox got some screws loose, and the stuff he be doing in that
Well,
ring is insane.
you and how about what from
Oh,
you from afar
I
watching him
do.
and Kato?
I do have a story. I do have a
Yeah, all
story.
right, give it to us. Give it
Okay,
to us.
okay. So, I'm gonna pull the curtain a little back. So I'm
Uh-oh.
behind, peeping the match. I'm like, ooh, something I won't do. So I'm watching the match, and we had a little fan, trying to get a little reckless, get out there, play.
Oh yeah.
And my boy
You were there for
Ox,
that. That's right. You were
my
there for it.
boy
Yeah.
Ox put that bastard on his
That's
ass.
right.
And
You were
I'm
there
sorry,
for that.
Tom,
Yeah.
bleep me, but he put that boy on his ass. Dude tried to get up on Ox's face. He was like, "You stay out of it." Mushed him,
Yeah, we
broke
saw
the
that.
man
Yes,
chair and
we talked
everything.
about that.
I
I
said,
forgot you were there
"Oh,
in February. Yeah. Yeah, that was
oh,
Omen talked about that on here. Anthony talked about that on here. I think even Ace Christian mentioned that, something like that.
yeah."
So yeah,
Because don't get me
that was
wrong, I
memorable.
was. I was a little heated, but clearly Ox, he built like that. He handled this. He handled himself. Because I said, because I think I was talking to CJ. I was talking to somebody. Maybe it was Ace or CJ, but I sat there and said, I want that brother to do that in my match. He gonna get a haluva
Yeah,
kick straight to the
Drago said the
jaw.
same thing. Drago said when he was here, he said the same thing. He's almost like he wants that. He wants, guys were like, yeah, we want to teach him a lesson. I was
Hmm.
like, I wouldn't show up again.
Even though I try to be a positive guy, I was just hoping Soldier would have said green light, and the boy I would have been on him like, ooh.
Yeah, well, that was,
But
that was certainly a memorable show and a
yeah,
memorable moment, and we talked a lot about that here. And I forgot you were a part of that. Yeah, and hello to Ox, and obviously everybody's hello. Felix Jones, by the way, Felix Jones, the new newest member of the House of Wolves. We have some big IMF shows. The guys are here Thursday night, and it's good to be talking IMF a little bit with you. And Cato was here Friday, and Felix Jones. Any impressions of him and all of a sudden and such?
Um, that he a cool kid. Honestly, he a cool kid. But this recent show, well, the last show I was at,
Yeah, Raging the
he
Cage.
got me good. He got me good. I ain't
He
gonna
did.
lie.
Yeah, don't tell us off on the air.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
tell us.
yeah. But
Don't do
he
that.
got me good. He knows. But he got me good.
Would you like to maybe be in the ring with Felix in a match some one of these days? I mean,
Of
Felix is definitely a
course.
candidate. He's been there with Drago. He's been in there with CJ Black. Obviously, you just mentioned CJ, and
Hmm.
he's definitely to me. I think he's like a year behind. You mentioned Ace Christian. I think that Felix is like 1 year behind Ace Christian. So meaning that
Both of
Ace
them.
Christian right now is like it going like he's doing the indie rounds, like he's doing underground just because
Hmm.
kind of like Felix, IMF, he's DBW, VTW. I feel like Felix in like a year from now, if this is what he wants to do, he's going to
Yeah.
be in the indies. That's just what
Both
I
both of
think.
them. I already told Ace personally, but both of them they generally have like a lot of potential.
Yeah,
Because
I agree with that.
clearly, Felix do have a wonderful mentor. He got Mr. Parsley right there. He got a wonderful mentor. So like
Yeah, I'm
his
not going to
his
ask you if that's his father because no more. It's not his father anymore. It's not just that's just over.
um because I've noticed like one thing I personally struggle with is ring
What?
psychology. So
Okay.
like and I've seen how he works matches and like even though clearly feel like I've been doing it longer than him, but like he taught me something. Like he showed me little bits and pieces of stuff. Like so, and that just proves like it don't matter what stage in your career, you can always learn something from a guy that been
Yeah,
doing it for a
absolutely.
couple months
I
to a
agree
guy
with
that been
you.
doing it for 50 years.
I say the same thing all the time. I remember my dad always saying, when I was playing guitar, there'll always be somebody better than you. And, and then Felix is one of the guys. And I just think it's fascinating to see him and with Omen and Anthony and Ox. And we're going to see them front and center. This coming up Friday and Saturday. We'll be talking a lot about that. Jovi's excited. I love Sean Jovi. Just
Yes.
love Sean Jovi. Sean Jovi. So good to see Sean Jovi. And we got a fun fact from our All Wrestling Matters archives. 700 plus people watched D'Angelo Leflame fall. Yes, that was the moment we talked about unfortunately, that's one of those blooper moments,
And
unfortunately.
that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I won't. I kid you not. If I do make it super far in this, I want a documentary, and I want that to be like the first clip. Just,
You will
hey, you
definitely
think
make it
this
very
guy is so great? Watch this. Fall
I
through
think
the
you'll definitely make it
stage.
very, very far, and I have no doubt. Yes, the clock was ticking, to quote Mr. Wick. And okay, we're going to certainly not talk about the corn stuff. And I bought you some time. Speaking of people, it's a great segue because now Chase Wakefield is here. Now, Chase Wakefield, you are a part of his wedding invitational. Now, I haven't really got a chance to formally talk to you about this. I mean, you were here before, kind of about it, but I want to now, for the first time, ask you your thoughts on your match and ask you your thoughts on this whole wedding. And first things first, I mean, would you want to have a wrestling super show and get married at the same time? It sounds like I don't know.
Now, when Mr. Chase first like pitched the idea to me, I was like, "How that's gonna work? How we gonna do a wrestling show and a wedding at the same time?" But hell, he clearly figuring it out. He gonna get it done. But I was honestly like, all seriousness, honored because I'm like, I never wrestled for a wedding, and then I don't think I was really just like when he
Then
first
the
pitched.
medal.
I don't think I was traveling like that. So I was like,
No.
I get to travel, then go wrestle for a win. So it's like, oh yeah, but clearly, later down the line, he was like, let me figure out who all coming and let me put some matches together, blah blah blah. Then when it finally got released that I was going against Mister Blaze, um, I was like, okay, because clearly people been pitching that match for a long time.
Yeah, we talked about it here. I actually remember talking about this about over a year ago. You and him. He came on a segment here with you, and we spoke about it. And yeah, it's definitely a match in terms of just where you guys are. The most two traveled wrestlers in the circuit over the last number of few years. I think that some people are going to obviously want to see that still, and I think by and large, most of the people here would probably be very favorable towards you in that match. But Aaron Blaze has certainly traveled a lot this year, and it'll be interesting to see him wrestle you now that you've got all this training, all this
Yeah.
different things you've done. Whereas I think some people still see Aaron Blaze as trying to make that transition from being a backyard guy to more of that underground, semi indie-ish kind of companies, almost more or
And he
less.
can do it. Don't get me wrong, he can do it. It's just up to him if he gonna take it serious enough.
Well,
But
listen, he had a great match with Chase. He wrestled Aaron Jones. I mean, so the DBW guys have been very, very complimentary about what he's been doing there, and I think that that's going to go a long way. A lot of guys like yourself that are peers, so I'm for one looking forward to it.
yeah, but now it's time for me to finally respond to all this madness Mr. Blaze
Yeah,
been putting out there.
yeah.
Now, Mr. Blaze, I will admit, I have been looking forward to this match, but I have to say this, Blaze, and I don't want you to hurt your little heart. I don't want to make you feel some type of way. I don't want no, well, I don't want to make it too personal, but I don't want no, you know, random black IG stories, with some little shots at me now. I don't want that.
Oh,
But I'm
oh.
gonna talk to you real now. I seen some of your matches, and it could be the opponents you're going against, but sometimes, Aaron, you gotta improve a little, brother. And when we see each other in this ring, I'm not pulling nothing. I'm not gonna treat you like a backyard kid. I'm gonna treat you like a
Ooh,
grown ass man in the indies.
oh,
So
wow.
I'm not pulling no punches. I don't want to hear you're stiffing me. You're stiffing me. No, brother, suck it up, and you better hit me back 10 times harder.
Oh, that
Cause
sounds
I
like
promise
Anthony
you.
Steele. That sounds like, I don't know, Omen Black. That sounds like Soldier GP when they've been on here. Boy, that sounds exactly like them.
Cause of course, I'm a respectful man. I'm gonna make sure you're good out
Yes.
there, but I'm not pulling nothing. Cause at the end of the day,
Oh boy,
we got a lot on the line, brother. This
we
match has been
do.
cooking for us a while. So I'm finna go all out. I have
Oh,
learned some new things, Aaron. I'm not the same old D'Angelo that was back there in the backyard slipping in mud and all that. Nah, brother. I'm new and improved. And I will say this, Aaron, because I already know this is gonna come up in the conversation. Yes, you traveled a lot. I traveled a lot. And that's cool. That's fine. I'm happy. Keep doing it. But I want you to know one thing that makes me stand out a little bit different from you, sir. You can win all these belts you want to. That's cool. But guess what? All those belts you won, I can go to Walmart and buy them bitches. I can go make them. Every
well,
belt
this
I
is
have
D'Angelo
won,
Leflame like we've never
every
seen
belt
him
I
on
have
Sportswire.
won, they make my weight go up. I get a little heavier when I win gold around here. Yours, brother, your weight don't change or some magical way the belt make it lighter. You win these little paper belts, that's cool. And no diss to those promotions, because I understand everybody got to start somewhere. Not everybody can just, get a legit belt. But don't sit here and hype yourself up as you that guy when you out here winning paper belts. Don't be saying you that guy when you purposely go against guys that's not on your level. I go out there and find guys that's better than me.
You did in
And
Massachusetts. You did that in certainly Iowa. You did that in
I have no
Ohio,
problem putting myself in a situation
and
I'm not
that's the thing that
comfortable with.
certain people have said, in that he's so far gone to DBW. I love Aaron dearly, but he hasn't been successful there recently. And that's the company that he's gone to. That's probably, other than ROEW, that's been his biggest company he's gone to. Certainly BTW he's a part of, but I think that there is a level, again, not to go down the back to the same route, but there's food groups. And right now he's in a food group that he hasn't been as successful of yet. Whereas we saw what you did in Massachusetts. We saw what you did in Ohio. We saw what you did at Shocky's house party against Mickey Vargas, by the way. Mickey Vargas is doing exactly what you're doing right now. He gets
Proud of my
slept on
boy.
a lot because,
I'm proud of my boy.
he gets slept on a lot. I know the guys in Massachusetts know him very well, and he's in Texas right now winning belts. Like, he's out there winning big things. You went up against him. You certainly, what you've done in Iowa and other places. You're doing stuff in the Indies, and I think it's really a tale of two individuals. Aaron I'm a big Aaron fan. I do not hide away from that, but he right now has not had the kind of success that you've had going up the ladder. And I think that that's going to be a big test for him, because so far the results against the big name opponents that he's faced hasn't been there yet.
Right. And I will. end it off basically by saying this. Aaron, if you want to really prove to everybody here that's watching and everybody who, watch your stuff, if you really want them to understand you here, you're that guy, you're meant to be in this situation, you better give it your all. Because
No, I
once
think he will. No,
again,
I think he will. I
I'm
think
not
he's in.
playing with you, Aaron. I'm not finna pull no punches. I'm not finna sit here and baby you. If you fuck up, I'm capitalizing.
Oh boy, am I
So
talking to
you better
Anthony
come on
Steele
with,
tonight or D'Angelo? Wait a minute. Am I talking to Anthony Steele or D'Angelo Leflame tonight? Who am I talking to?
because I don't want to embarrass you, Aaron. I really don't. I genuinely believe you can hold your own, but we gonna see. Only time can
Do you
tell.
think he could hold his own in IMF? You've been in IMF. You've been in NEW. Do you think that he could hold his own there? Because it sounds to me like you're almost repeating things I've heard here. I love Aaron dearly, and I think he could. But are you saying almost that he couldn't compete in places like IMF or NEW or
Um,
even home, Shocky's house party, that crowd? Do you think he can compete there?
if you want me to be honest,
Yeah, be honest.
no, no,
No.
cold
That's what some
heartedly.
guys
He
think. I
he
mean, he,
definitely wouldn't survive in NEW. Definitely wouldn't survive in IMF. And then Shocky house party.
With
Oh
that kind of home, because
no.
those guys get slept on. Those
Cause
guys, they're
truthfully,
from my state, so I know that
let's
those
talk
kind of
about it.
guys.
Let's really talk about it. Replace me and Aaron with my match with Gabe Sayer and Mikey. You think Aaron coming out on top on it? They were gonna dog walk Aaron little ass.
Yeah.
Aaron, no, no.
Well, that's what he's.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
replace
I think
him.
that's why he's gone to DBW so he can learn from, some of those guys. And I know it sounds good. Everybody, it sounds like he's doing good there. But I think that there's a lot of people from IMF, NEW. You want to throw ROEW in there? All right, I'll throw ROEW in there. But there's certain, Shocky's house party, the homeboys that they look at him still as a backyard guy, whereas they look at you. You went toe to toe with all those guys in AEW. You went toe to toe with Soldier. You did Summer Bash. You've been in there in other places. Whereas, Aaron, I love Aaron, but wrestling the opponents that he's wrestled in different places, it's just not to them. To me, I'm Team Aaron. I'm Team Aaron, but I think that there is a certain feeling by certain individuals that he cannot cut it in places you have.
Truthfully, if you want me, Aaron is in that situation right now. He's finally getting that culture shock. Like I said, he always went against
Yes.
somebody he knew he was always the better guy. He always did that. Now he's finally
Yeah.
seeing other heavy hitters, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. That one actually stung a little. Wait, wait, wait. I'm not used to this
Well,
yet. I'm
DBW,
used to
yes,
it."
he's in DBW. That's a company that has guys that have been in the indies, guys that have been veterans, and maybe going there, I think, will help him. I think there is certainly a feeling that he didn't go to IMF. Again, I don't want to get in the middle of that. It's not my thing, not my business, but I think there is that thing. I think there are others that have felt things, but I think him going to DBW, I hope, Mr. LaFlame, that provides him what he needs to go out there and give us a hell of a match, because I'm very excited about seeing what he can do against you, because you're right. It's a match that I have wanted to see, and a lot of people have wanted to see for a long time. But there are some people that feel like you, D'Angelo, you stuck your neck out there, and everybody said D'Angelo the Flame is and even more advertised as who he is. Whereas, Blaze, he didn't yet go and do that. He didn't yet. Now, I know guys are telling me he's done it, and we're going to see it in DBW, but so far, he's not been successful there. And it's not a shade. I'm an Aaron fan. I'm not saying this is repeating things, on our TV screens. It's not there yet, but it might be, and I think it will be, and I think you're going to give him that test, and I'm very excited about it. But
I
you
will
know,
admit, Aaron is definitely the underdog in this situation. And I want him to understand, yes, you have to fight with a chip on your shoulder. This is not going to be easy. I
well,
don't want
that's
to
but
keep
that's what
repeating
Anthony
myself.
said. It's funny you say it, and it's almost like people are like hearing it and they're almost digesting it. And maybe Anthony said the same things, but Anthony's Anthony. So when Anthony says it, people kind of get maybe the feelings twisted. But when you say it, it's almost like, well, you're just being truthful. Anthony would say it would be like World War III, but Anthony, in a lot of ways, he is not wrong on a lot of things. And in this case, you are saying the same thing he said The same thing Omen is said on here. Soldier is said on here. And those are guys that, like you, have traveled. Those are guys that have, they've backed it up. They put their money where it is, and I think Aaron has the opportunity. I think he will. I really do, because I'm a friend of Aaron's, and I don't shy away from that. I support everybody, and I think Aaron's going to do a great job. And we'll see.
Now, I will say this just to piss him off. Maybe I'll get a little more blaze in his butt, whatever. Because truthfully, his blaze can't hold to a flame. But I will say this just to give him a little oomph, a little kick in the butt, I guess. Mr. Aaron, I would just like to say it's a guy that goes by 3 letters, and he's better than you. Are you ready for those 3 letters?
Oh,
Somebody, um, what's the first letter in the alphabet? A.
oh,
Um, mm,
mm,
Tom, what's the first letter in your name?
that's
T.
T.
Mm.
And that
Oh
last one,
God, what
right?
with the last one? The
That's
last one, the one that really gonna hurt him.
Oh
Ah,
no, I think I know where this is going. I think this is you're really going
ah,
there, boy. You're really going there. Nah, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't.
I think the letter I'm trying to get out is K.
Well,
Come get me, guys.
Well, that I mean, I don't know. That's some strong words. There's some strong commentary there. That's some really, really strong
So we
commentary for
got
you
an
to say
A,
that.
we got a T, we got a K. Better than Aaron Blaze. Mm.
That's obviously initials that really, I'm not even
It
gonna
really
go there
hurts the
with that.
soul. Yeah, something
That
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 really
would hurt.
personal
That
with
would hurt.
Mr.
If
Blaze.
you would have said A and said Anthony and then Steele or something like that, Anthony's new initial or something. All right,
Nah,
I
I
believe
don't think Anthony pissed Aaron off enough. I need something that's gonna make him come out guns blazing.
that.
I need,
Oh
I
well, I
need,
think tonight people are going to be talking about this. I see the chat now is through the roof. I think,
I
yeah,
need Aaron to come with full force so he
but he's under pressure.
understands
But
the
I will say
jeopardy.
this much: I will say he is under pressure because there are guys that feel like that he didn't go out and wrestle. I mean, yes, I think what he's doing in BTW is great. We have BTW coming back on here. I love the BTW guys, but it doesn't, to certain people, it doesn't ring the same as when he's wrestling BES, when he's wrestling, guys there. Again, I love them. They're coming on here. So this is not a knock or anything, but guys look at it like you're wrestling BES, you're wrestling, Mad Jack in a 5-way, and you're not wrestling the Omen Black, Soldier GP, Anthony Steele, Justin Parsley. People look at that and that's what they're going to feel. I think, listen, you got to do what's best for you. I think if he's happy, I'm a fan, and I think it's great he's in DBW, but people look at that like, well, he had a chance to go to IMF and he didn't go there. He went to DBW first. I think he's done very good there so far, but he's under a lot of pressure in this match. And I think Chase did a good thing. Chase did the right thing by putting this match together because it is kind of, you don't have to prove anything. You've already wrestled the big boys. You've already indie, and he's got some, and it's, I know, part of me thinks it's not fair to him in some sense, but he does have pressure on him because he hasn't proven it against really anybody yet. And this is why Chase, I think, put this match together. And it's just, I think you lose. No, you didn't. Nothing was proven. You've already gone out there and traveled. You're training. He's not. He's, I mean, listen, he's just not. I just think that's just the reality of it. I mean, people look at some of the places he's went to. I don't want to turn it into that. And they feel that you're another level of him. You're a level ahead of him.
Yeah.
You and Delta would have been different. I think you and Delta would have been, that to me would have been more, okay, that's mano a mano a bit. His background with Fury, his background, I think that the size there, but we're not getting that match. We're getting Aaron Blaze. And I think this is an opportunity for people to see two of the best traveling wrestlers. And I'm excited about it regardless. I really am.
And honestly, and I understand where Aaron coming from with all the pressure built upon him, but
It is.
this is what I said. Like, this is his moment to show everybody he won't fold under pressure. So that's why I need him to understand this ain't no just throwaway. Oh, it's okay. I'll be back next week and I'll get him again. No, Aaron. No. I need you to understand you in a position that can make or break Aaron Blaze. I'm trying my nicest and
No,
kindest and
I think.
hardest
Listen,
way.
I'm glad yours. If Anthony was saying it, it would be like World War III and IV here. I think what you're doing is actually a good thing, and it's commendable because not only are you fighting for a Medal of Honor, I think you are fighting for something, and you're fighting to see what'll happen. I'm excited for it, and we're going to move on from it because I think at the end of the day, I've got the point. Aaron Blaze is going to have to prove what he can do. He's done that in DBW a bit, but the record has not been there yet. We'll certainly see. This is obviously the biggest match he's had in that ability to see mano a mano. And we'll get to the rest of it because I know your side of it and I know his side of it. And, I just want to be what the fans are saying is let's just get the match going. Hello to Chase Wakefield. Hello to Ox McCoy. And I am definitely an Ox McCoy fan. So am I. Don't listen to the haters. They hate us because they, whatever it goes. Yeah. We love Ox McCoy. Yes, we do. And hello to Chase Wakefield. And I bought you some time because I was late because traffic in New York City was unfortunately a little bit of a pain in the butt. But yep, everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing good. If Justin Parsley comes, he riots. Well, you wait because he'll probably be here in the chat. I have no doubt that he will be here. And as long as Parsley doesn't show, it'll be a good time. Well, I think he should be here. I think my whole monitor should be here. And I hope for one he's here tonight, despite what Omen Black did to him. But speaking of people who I love seeing back out there, who was out there this past weekend, the Underground OG, the legendary Dark Hanan, and a man that I know is so happy to see you here. And we're going to be talking about ROEW very soon here because it's been a while and I need to see more ROEW coverage. And he might be too concussed to remember to join the chat. No, I think he joined. Tonight. And yeah, without further ado, somebody likes it. Yeah, he's doing the intro. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to retire after tonight's show. We spoke too much about the Aaron Blaze match, and I'm going to let Ox host the shows going forward. Ox can handle it here. And 5 minutes later in SpongeBob narrator voice. Well, I think I did it like 7 minutes tonight, but yeah, there we go. And here we go. We need an over and under. And speaking of people, there is Mr. Jake Dvorak, who I see is also making the rounds. He's doing the UWF this coming Friday, and he's wrestling some other places. He's got a lot of dates coming up here, and Jake is happy to see you, and I'm happy to see him, and you can see what I can see there. And speaking of people we haven't seen in a while, Cameron Cage is back. Boy, people are waiting for this one. They haven't seen. I know Kato was here Friday. Yeah, I mean, Kato, it was good to see Kato, but you're one of the guys that they've been waiting for a show like this for a while. They haven't seen one of these in a number of weeks, so you brought it. You got the people out here, and you must be a happy man. But it's welcome home. And yes, hello to Jake. Congratulations to the double champion. And well, Mr. Parsley gave you a nice comment. I can't kill him. And, give Mr. Parsley credit because he's a Pacers fan in basketball, and he's here on Sportswire rather than watching the game. Well, he shouldn't want to watch the game tonight. The Pacers are down 21, so that's okay. He can just go back to game 3 and, forget about the rest of the game. But, he's there, Mr. Parsley, our whole monitor. And,
Yes. Another little side note. At
do it.
Last show, I sat there and told Mr. Parsley, like his match with just like I said, I watched a lot of wrestling, and I don't. When I say this, I don't want to come off as like I hated everybody else, man. But it's some matches that generally just stick out to me. And when Justin had his match,
Roman.
After the match, I sat there and just told like clearly he bloody.
I think that was Omen's best. I'm going to say I said it here already. I think it's Omen's best match he's had in his career. I know Omen's had a lot of matches. I know another. Here we go. Unpopular opinion, but I think the way that match was, the way everything unfolded, and the story they told, I think that was the best match Omen Black has had in his career. And I mean, this is Omen's show. I've watched Omen, 80% of your matches here. I mean, since I've seen you, come through the ranks, I think that was his best one.
Yeah, I agree. Cause so after the show, I walked up to Mr. Parsley, and he bloody in the face. He trying to recover. He trying to recoup. And I'm over here. Hey, Mr. Parsley, I would just like to tell you, you are a real national treasure. Like because I enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed it because he was just, being Parsley, funny. He kept it entertaining.
He's the hall monitor. He's the hall monitor.
It was just perfect. Cause like how the crowd reacted to it, and they, he worked it well. Him and Omen. I don't want to just, I don't want to say Omen did horrible. Like both of them, they worked the match
No,
perfectly. They
I
got the
think the match,
crowd,
I
highs,
watched it.
lows.
Rage in the Cage was such a good event, and I'm so excited this week we get the guys back on Thursday because there was so many good matches. It wasn't like they were all, your match. Obviously, we talked about Kato and Ox. We had, the triple threat match for the U.S. title. I see Kron is here, Drago and Steel. I mean, we talked about Omen and Justin, just so many great matches. That's why I was really excited about it. But I'm going to surprise you because it's D'Angelo Leflame Day today on Sportzwire Radio. Because you got so many people here in the chat. I better do it because I'll have at least another hour worth of comments to get through. So I'll never be able to ask you any more questions if I don't put this up. So congratulations. I will give you the physical copy, and you are definitely beloved, and I think tonight is certainly an example of that. So welcome home and congratulations. It's your day. Yeah, the job market isn't great here either. Hope it works out, brother. Praying for you. Like I said, just put me as a
I
letter of
appreciate it.
reference. I've told you, put me as a reference. I mean, and if I get the job with the basketball team, and if anybody out there in the chat, you're a wrestler, you're out of a job, and I somehow get the job as the basketball coach, I will give you a job. Listen, I've already offered to cut my salary. I've already offered to do what I can. I will find you a job in that college. I will find you a job recruiting, doing something. So we're going to create jobs. We'll create the job. So don't you worry. I get the job. I'll give you a job. I promise you that. You're welcome. We can go for the next comment. Yeah, we're praying for you, D'Angelo. We hope you do better financially. Cameron, good one. I always love seeing Cameron. Much respect for Leflame. Always had fun working with you. Definitely lightened up the locker room. Miss working with you, man. Yeah, we missed you being here. Love Cameron. Love this guy.
We most definitely we'll figure something out. We'll figure something
Good,
out. I
good,
know
good.
you got some tucked in the corner sometime. Whenever that gets situated and fixed, I got you, Cam. I will
Yo,
gladly come
good.
back.
Good. D'Angelo Leflame, preach it. Needs to be said. He agreed with everything you said earlier about being real in the ring. And you are the real raw energy, by the way. Get your shirt somewhere. I only
Yes.
work snug, bordering on stiff, and expect nothing less back. Well, it's Ox McCoy. Yeah, you ain't getting those
Oh, yeah.
famous Hulk Hogan padded chair shots. Be safe but believable. Yeah, that's the
Yes.
Bret Hart analogy.
Yes.
Good point. That's the Bret Hart, Claudio Castagnoli lines there. Ox, you still work better than some guys out there. Will let my son wrestle you without concern. That's because Ox is a pro and he's a man's man. And yes, we love Ox. We love Mr. McCoy. And I'm just an old man. Well, I mean, I think he's not as old as James Taylor, right? Not going there. It was a joke. It was a joke. We love James. James will be back on, but I think James is older than Kron, right? So that's okay. But you now, what about you and Kron? Now I got to ask you right now. You lived in Mr. Kron's home at Summer Bash. Now Summer Bash is coming up. It's coming up actually less than a month from now. I mean, you could have this match with Mr. Kron there in Iowa this time. Will you be showing up this year at Summer Bash?
If you want me to
Maybe.
be realistic,
Maybe.
it really comes down to if I'm in the right financial situation.
Good enough. Good deal.
Because clearly I would love to, clearly love my first time being there. But it just comes down to money. Because at the end of the day, I got to get, clearly got to get out there, got to get back, got to eat, stuff
Yeah,
like this.
just eat. Yeah, eat.
Um, but in my current position right now, it's a no, unfortunately. I probably will
Okay.
not,
No.
most likely won't come. But
All
if
right.
things
Well, you know
change,
what?
you never know. You might hear that real raw energy coming through the speakers.
Well, you know what? I listen. Things could definitely happen, but yeah, we'll stay tuned. How you doing, Mr. Yoshimatsu Matsuda, the Oyabun? And he's happy. What
Yes,
happened?
Mr.
Facts, Ox.
Shogun.
Yes. My guest tomorrow night, Timothy Titan, who is the man behind Money Mark Media, the man that booked this guy, the artist formerly known as Fuego del Sol. He is also the man behind the Indie Vision podcast. And, D'Angelo, you would be great on Mr. Titan's podcast. He has his own podcast because he sees that I do such a crappy job at this that he's like, you know what? I could host my own show. I could do a better job. I'm a wrestler. I've been a booker. I'm a promoter now. He feels he could just do his own podcast. So I'm only kidding on half the things, but he's got a podcast, and
Mhm.
maybe he'll talk to you one day. And
Okay,
check it out. He's got his
I'm
Kevin
always
from Ring
down.
Group. Yeah, they'll interview you if they want to, but they got a page. They got some subscribers. They got some shows up. So check all of it out. And yeah, definitely please support the Indie Vision Network. And thank you, Mr. Titan. He'll be here between 9:30 and 10 tomorrow, depending on when I'm finished D'Angelo with dinner. Because guys, my fellas from the neighborhood want to have dinner. So it's been a minute, and I got to go eat once in a while because I got to eat too. Let's go ahead. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Mr. Titan. Where were we? And yep, there we go. People, yep, Yoshi. Yep, hello to Yoshi. There we go. Why can't I see this? Now we go. Yep, hello to Mr. Titan. He would like to say there is no ceiling for anyone if you have the drive. I
I
agree.
agree. I agree. But here's
Good
the
point.
big thing. A lot of brothers just don't have that drive. They like I've noticed a lot of people they think this shit just supposed to be handed to them.
Yeah.
It's not. It would never be just, especially in this business. Like you already know, life in general, you're not gonna be handed
Oh, I
anything.
was
But
told as a kid all the time,
in
you're not gonna,
wrestling,
I was told it all the time.
you will get clowned on if you think, oh, well, I think you should just put me on the show. No, nobody's finna hand you nothing. But I cold hardly agree, Mr. Tiny. Just people got to learn. You have to have that drive. Because even me, I will admit, like my drive wasn't as strong, and since my mindset had changed and I've been through some stuff. Like I'll be honest, like now my drive is a little bit better than
Well, you
before.
sound good. You sound like you're in a good frame of mind. I feel like when you were here last, we were talking about the injury, talking about different things. It was like a weird, when you came here last, it was like a weird period because we went through certain things in the backyard community. And I think everybody's in a little bit of a better place. I think that you're in a better place. Yes, there's a divide on certain things, but I think from where we were, where you were in our last interview to where we are now, I think you're definitely evolving, and I think it's great to see you that way. And yeah, well, Yoshi Matsumatsu to come to IMF, that's up to him. And people who create the vision of scum, my uncle of all people is kind of, yes, definitely agreed on that. I agree wholeheartedly. It's great to have dreams, but sometimes you need to start realistic and work your way to getting those dream opponents. Yes, you have to work your way
I
of the
agree.
ranks, like anything else. Listen, he'll stay clear of U.S. Okay, that's great. And the U.S. circuit has not been kind. Okay, that's fine. Listen, people, as long as you're happy, who really doesn't matter. Like my dream opponent is Matt DeMorris, who's, by the way, you're on that show, and this man's getting married and wrestling Matt DeMorris, and he did have to grind 10 years, and now he's having a wedding. I think the point he really should stress, though, D'Angelo, is that he had to grind to get married. I mean, he really should be saying that, D'Angelo, because he should be saying, well, I had to grind to meet this beautiful lady Janie, the love of my life, and I finally got to where I can get that soulmate of mine. Instead, he goes in about Matt DeMorris. We'll give him a pass on that. That's okay. We'll give him a pass. But she's not watching this. That's the good news. But yeah, but she'll probably thank me later. Yeah, Omen Black definitely. Yep. We love to see Omen and Yoshi. And yep, everybody's opinion. Thank you, Ox. I appreciate that because I appreciate you always being here and telling me when am I on Sportswire, and I'm here. And good. Yes, definitely be happy. Train with the uncle. Yes. And common sense. Good. Always common sense will always prevail. Ox is definitely a dream opponent guy for me, and that'd be a good time. Yeah, well, that could be nothing but a good time. If Chase Wakefield becomes the world extreme champion at Total Domination X, he'll make sure Ox McCoy gets a shot. If you haven't yet, I don't know why you wouldn't. Go follow D'Angelo on Instagram. He's got some
I
merchandise still
know
going
I
by.
haven't posted in a while,
But
but
still
it's okay.
follow
You can
anyway.
still leave a file. You can still
You
leave a
got,
follow.
yeah. Listen, you got
I promise.
60, you got almost
I'll
20 people on
improve.
YouTube watching you live. They can go give you a follow. There's somebody that
Right.
probably is here for the first time.
I promise. I have big plans. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna post
No,
a
you're
lot
here
more.
tonight. You definitely have big plans. You wouldn't be here otherwise. And yes, we agree. Your word definitely means a lot. And watching D'Angelo live is a whole experience. Yeah, I think everybody said that that's wrestled with you. Even when ADT and those guys would come on here from Alabama. Certainly the NEW guys all raved about you. Joe Starr raved about you. Savage. I mean, Savage loves you. I'm not going to say some of the things he told you off the air. I mean, certainly, Gabe and Jake and I mean
Yeah,
all those NEW guys, Tyson Spade, all praised you. They've all
because
come on here, all big
I have that
game.
mindset that every match need to be experienced because I don't care if it's just one brother in the crowd, hey, or it's 50 million. At the end of the day, you got to put on that match like it's your last
Yeah,
match. You gotta, even like I said, if it's just that one fan paid to come see y'all wrestle,
absolutely.
you have to make it like make them realize, oh, I don't regret spending my 15, 20, whatever amount you charge at a show. You
Yeah.
want them to realize, like, I don't want to sound too corny because I kind of got this off of the TV show Heels. You want them to, you want them to come in, and you want them to believe they are escaped reality for 2 or 3 hours. They don't have to
No,
think
it's
about their
true.
job.
But you know what? I just saw Ballerina yesterday, right? It was 2 hours. It was a 2 hour escape from the
Reality.
reality. My situation is nowhere near what other people go through. But you still want to get away from it. I think wrestling is that thing, and I think that's why what you do in the ring was so happy you're in a good frame of mind. I know who this person is. I definitely know who this person is because I just know because I know. And Leflame, my son cheers for him in the IMF. We're the ones with the loud kids cheering for Soldier, and there are a lot of Soldier fans there. A lot of Soldier fans there. Definitely a lot of
Oh yeah,
fans. Period.
oh yeah. Even though he took out my dread, y'all still cheer for him, but it's okay. It's
Wow.
okay. I got 2 million.
Soldier,
I
well,
ain't.
Soldier in Iowa is a different. It's a different vibe. It's just
Hmm.
he's a popular real one. He's a popular monster. Popular real ones. Get it? And I always make sure I peek through the curtain when he works for IMF. Is he confirmed? And of course, you knew he had to say it. It's his platform. He's
Of
back here Thursday.
course,
The
Mr.
champion,
Omen.
Omen Black. Guess the boogeyman of the Midwest. You look like you could be hit by a boogeyman here in a little while.
Can
We'll make
can
sure
I
this
just
ends
share?
soon.
Can I share a little
It's
something?
it's his platform. You can share anything you
So
want.
so I I don't know if it was before my match or it was somebody match. It maybe been like Steel and El Drago, the triple threat. It might have been that
Kron,
match. So I just know Omen is just sitting down, chilling, minding the business, and he come out with the face paint and all this. When I say I just looked at Omen and I said, all the stuff you do out there, and back here you just look like a big cuddly boogeyman, like a big cuddly bill. Cause he was just
yeah.
like, nice.
Jay shouldn't say that on there. This is Omen Black. Don't say that on
Oh
the
yeah,
air. That's a
yeah, yeah.
bit.
Dangerous,
No, don't
dangerous
do that. We're
mofo,
live. No,
dangerous
no, no.
mofo.
I gotta
That
edit
wasn't
that
Omen
one out.
Black.
Omen's
That was Omen
Omen's gonna
White.
get mad.
Yeah, I apologize. I apologize. I don't want no problem with the boogeyman, but allegedly it was a nice guy in the back, looking scary but cuddly.
Ah. Well, you know what? That's not the same guy I know, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
okay.
guy we
Well,
know, he's a killer. He's a killer. He don't play
yeah.
that.
Oh, I
He,
know him, and
he rips teddy
you're a
bears'
killer.
heads off.
And we'll let people enjoy your match while we'll get through this. We have a lot of comments. I mean, literally, I'm not going to ask you any more questions. You literally have a million comments. I've tried to tell people to stretch and just do calisthenics, but I don't want to sound mean. Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
said
I
that
understand.
on here. And you need to get on his show, by the way, the Dark Chronicles, by the way. You should definitely get on his show, by the way. This is why
Cause
I'm glad. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just about to say, like, yeah, that's one thing I had learned. I thought I knew how to work out every part of my body, but no, they done taught me like a lot of stuff. Because I realized even though I do all this, athletic stuff, I'm really not like flexible. I realized like a lot of stuff I
Yeah,
struggle with because I haven't did the proper stretches. I don't work out those core muscles that
true.
hips. And yes, I agree. Like if you want to take it seriously and you want to, and not even just wrestling wise, you just want to get better at working out. Like learn your muscles, learn your body, learn different what muscle does what, and work on that muscle. Because that really helped me out. I can, like I said, I can do a lot more than what I used to be able to do. Um, I clearly been doing like more neck exercises, of course, because my history. But
Yeah, we talked about that. We had you showed me, yeah, you really
yeah,
showed us what that neck went through, and yeah, that made me squint. Yeah, that made
yeah,
some of us squint. So yeah, we're not gonna, do that, and that's a good thing you let us know about that. But yes, that's why I'm glad the Japanese circuit is focused on ring ability. Yes, definitely agreed on that. Okay, appreciate Omen. We love Omen and Darkron's diet: chicken and rice with water. Yeah, I'm not having water. I just had Mountain Dew, so yeah, that's not gonna fly with me. But that's why Darkron's the underground OG, and I'm not. But that sounds like a good diet: chicken,
yeah.
rice, and water. That sounds good. I can go for that right now, actually. Of course, physicality is incredibly important, but ring ability is crucial. Yes, I would definitely agree with that. And you got a long way to 40, so don't you worry about that. So you got a couple decades, close enough. But these bigger guys also have cardio. Cardio is the biggest thing in the ring. You don't want to blow yourself up. Yes, and Savage
Yes.
talked about that. Tommy Horror talked about that. So that's been a topic. And there is JX, and that is really his hair. And I see I'm in a group chat with somebody on Discord, and they blame JX for something. And I think I know who that is. It's just his name's Cameron, but I'll leave that at that. At this point, I stopped giving a fill in the blanks, let my actions speak. I agree. Win Pro came home to the yard, going back soon. Awesome. Great stuff. Gave up trying to go indie. Would have loved to, but got to take care of my family. The yard keeps me able to follow my dream. You don't have to make it far to feel like you've made it in life, which is a good line. And there are
Yeah.
guys that do fall into that category, which you talked about earlier tonight, that, maybe you did train, maybe you had a little bit of experience, but for whatever reason, it wasn't the right people, the right frame of mind. And,
Yeah.
you went back and you went back to what you enjoyed. And I think that that's
Because not everybody goal is to go pro. Not everybody
no.
goal is to hit the indies. Some guys they want to just stay yarders, and that's perfectly fine. And I wish the
Yeah,
world would
absolutely.
also see that as well. It just
Absolutely. No.
everybody goals are different. It just depends. Different steps. It depends on your goals. If you want to, take it to the next level, of course you got steps. If you just want to go get better and go back to the yard, it's not that many steps. But it don't discredit you as a wrestler. It's
No,
just
and listen, there are some yards. Listen, some guys in a yard, they might get more views. It just depends on
yeah.
different things. And we're here with D'Angelo Leflame, the real raw energy. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, we're all music and wrestling matters. I also want to thank everybody for tuning in here. Like, share, or subscribe if you haven't yet, but you've all subscribed at this point. Follow the IMF. Certainly give them a sub. We'll have all the guys here Thursday night. I'm here Tuesday night with the legendary Grand Funk Railroad guitarist and frontman, Mr. Mark Farner. Tomorrow night, Timothy Titan. So we have some really great shows ahead. I hope that you join us. Hit the sub button for the All Wrestling Matters page. You can see D'Angelo the Flame front and center, and some of the NEW guys. Also, if you hear, yep, I agree about that. Train to be safe. Match was fun to watch. I definitely agree about that. One thing my uncle said was, if you have big dreams, you got to put big effort. Absolutely. Hello to Brent. Obviously, somebody's referring to James Taylor. Obviously, we're not going to go down that road, but he will be back on Sportswire. You're welcome to, ask him, I suppose, then. But, we'll leave that at that. Everybody's got their way of doing things. Yeah, hit the sub button for All Wrestling Matters. And, Yep. We'll see. Yep. Hit the sub for the IMF. I came on cue. And hello. Never stop learning. Yes, I agree. I absolutely can't wait to see D'Angelo Laflame and Aaron Blaze. And I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about that match. And I think you certainly whetted a lot of people's palates for that. I think what Mr. Wakefield is a genius for what he's doing. I agree completely. I think what Mr. Wakefield is doing by putting all these great matches together, I think it's awesome. He has been learning a lot in DBW. And I think that that's the one thing we're going to see what he does in DBW. And that's going to hopefully help to what you said, because there are guys, and again, different places that feel that they didn't see that moment, but we'll see. And I'm no genius, my brother. I have a vision and experience over ego. And JX is a funny guy. That's all I could say in the background. I generally hope your vision works out. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Yes. Strong style. Yep, you are strong style. Thank you, my brother Matsuda. I wish you weren't across the globe. Yep, I agree about that. You were shooting, but I think you were certainly doing it in a respectful way. This is what Sportswire has been missing. But I think we did it in a much more respectful way than prior Sportswire shows. That's what I would say. I think it was as much more, I think respectful, and I think that people got the point and understood. Chase, your wedding is going to be the biggest show of the year. Well, I think it could very well be. Hopefully they have it. Thanks, Chase. I'm aiming for Tamahashi soon. Well, now I definitely hope he has it. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for backing me up. Mickey Vargas is one of those guys. I don't think he's come on here, but I really think guys he's so under the radar because what you wrestled him, what he's done in Texas right now, what he's done in home, guy is in phenomenal shape right now. The guy, what he's done in the last year, I think all those guys like Onyx, I think Ashaki certainly, Luke Draven, Torrance Banks, who's been here, Mickey Vargas. I mean, all those guys, Grimes, I think they're like their whole rosters like just pound for pound that good. Steel episode. Well, he's here Thursday. So he'll be here Thursday. Blaze has too big of an ego. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Aaron Blaze will certainly show a lot of people what he can do against you, D'Angelo. I'm sure. This is getting me excited. I will say every match has a dark horse element to it. Well, I'm glad. I think D'Angelo, what you did was a good thing because you motivated a lot of people about this match to tune in. You're a great salesman. And every match is going to have some future implications for sure after the wedding. I agree. Blaze is eventually going to get a shot on. He's not going to like it. Well, I think he's learning in DBW, and I think D'Angelo, you gave him some good advice, and I think that he's doing a good job.
Mm.
DBW is definitely helping him. He's doing a great job in DBW. I will say for myself that he has been getting a crap ton better in the ring. Yes, and I think a lot of the guys have raved about him on and off the air here, and I agree. Are you still with the foundation?
Um, if you want me to be honest, I think Soldier kicked me out after he took my belt, yanked my hair. I think I'm officially, unfortunately, I'm not no more. I don't think I'm no more, unfortunately.
I don't
Maybe.
think you're House of Wolves either.
Yeah, never know. I'm always available, I guess. But yeah, I think Mr. Soldier. I think Mr. Soldier came and kicked me out. I didn't pay my dues and got me out of there.
Nah, I'm sure Soldier will talk about this on Thursday. Yeah, you said something about the last time you won. I was happy to hear some positive feedback on Blaze. Yeah, and I do think that DBW going there has been good for him. I think, again, I would have loved as a fan to have seen him back in ROEW. I would have loved to have seen him in IMF, but or NEW. I would love to see him in those companies, but maybe DBW first and everything else will fall along the way. And I think that it's all going to work out. There's a reason why I booked this match, and it's just because it was been talked about for ages. There you go. Kato. Always love seeing Kato. Kato's one of those guys like you who's been in different places and saying what's up. If Aaron ever hits Iran ever hits the Indies, he's doomed. Well, I think that he's one step at a time. And I was driving by and I just heard some shots fired. Well, yeah, that was a kind drive by. I think these were like BB guns. Or was it really? You guys have any idea what's going on tonight? Well, the Pacers are getting blown out, but yeah, don't watch the game. But you'll be there for game 3, right? The esteemed hall monitor is here. Yeah, he's reported for duty. James Taylor is in the house. He is in the house, the legendary nemesis James Taylor. I mean, maybe you and James Taylor one day, but not going to go there. Not going to certainly go there because you obviously talked about your situation. You need funds, and I don't see you going to BYCW at the moment. But hey, who knows? And what's up, Leflame? And he is scouting for
Hello,
ROEW.
Mr. Taylor.
That was a company that obviously was on your radar, but you've talked about the funds and financial issues, so we're not going to ask a question that doesn't really need to be asked. You kind of answered it. Yoshi Masayoshi. Boy, okay, somebody really isn't watching Tyrese Halliburton tonight. But hey, he's in the finals and the Knicks aren't. I'm not a Knicks fan for the record, though. But hello there. Yep, hello. Hello to James. Hello to Darkron. Everybody's saying hello. They're like doing the wave on sports. You have so many comments. And I think you have more comments than I think I had the last like 5 days on sports. Again, we had great shows. We had great shows, but I just think that this show today had combined more comments in the last 5 days. I'm still working on Delta coming. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Delta. I think I'll ask you on Delta. Might as well, right? I mean, maybe I'll try my luck. I mean, Delta, he said something, but didn't really say much about it. It's a match that that's to me, and I said it earlier when this comment was made, that's the match people really wanted to see, was you and Delta. That was the match where you would have hit him in the mouth. He would have hit you back. That was the match that would have been really the one who's the better traveler, who's the one who's traveled more in meaningful places. And what's your thoughts on Delta in his state right now?
Don't worry. Me and Delta most definitely are gonna have a match eventually, but I don't want any excuses with Delta. I want to wait until he's 100%, not even 100% at this point. Delta, you come talk to me when you 150, 200% ready, bro. Cause I'm
Yeah, I
make
don't
sure
know.
I got
I
you back
you
down
know
to
what?
size, brother.
Soldier said he retired him, and Soldier beat you. So I mean,
Well,
Soldier wants that bragging rights. He wants
oh,
Delta when Delta
let me
returns.
let me not hype a Soldier here, but it sounded like Soldier turning into, instead of the Legend Killer, he turning into the Travel Killer, taking us
No,
all out
Soldier.
one by one.
Well, no. Well, Soldier's got his own problems with Omen still. So I mean, but Soldier does make a point that he's defeated you, and Mr. Delta hasn't wrestled since. I mean, and I gotta show my support for all three men. Yeah. I'm also trying to get Jahil to do Leflame's entrance. Well, you
Look,
asking me for a loan? Is that what it is?
look,
Yeah.
look. I've been emailing that brother for a long time.
Well, you
They
know
have
what?
not
Send
checked
me.
their
I'll tell
email.
you what. Send me his email because
I got you.
I send me his email. I'll email him, and because we do have the guy from Grand Funk Railroad. We're an American band. He's on here Tuesday, so I'll talk to him. I'll email him. Let me know what I can do. Aaron,
If you can pull it off, that's
I
cool with me.
might.
I've
I
been trying to
mean,
get him for
like
the
Rhino's
longest.
been here. Listen, Savio Vega's been here. Gary Wolf's been here. I've been in blabbermouth.net 3 times. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I can't guarantee it, but I'm happy to try it. And if I get the job as the basketball coach, I mean, you better believe, oh, he's going to be doing your entrance. Because if I win that job, when I become the next head coach of the John Jay College Bloodhounds men's basketball team, which just went to the NCAA tournament, yeah, I'm going to make sure he does your entrance. And I'm going to make sure that James Taylor, because there can't be no other way, gets this comment in. Aaron's got a lot of growing up to do before anyone really respects him. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but that's my opinion. Look, there are people that feel that, things should have been different, but I can only say that you have to move forward and the past is the past. I swear Leflame always gets the views. He surpasses me on views all the time, but Chase Wakefield has been here like every month. You haven't been here in over half a year. So I mean, people have been waiting for it's you and Jack Delta. Jack Delta, it would be the only other guy that people have been waiting for that hasn't been on Sportswire. I mean, you and him haven't been on here in months. I think that would be, what that would be. And listen, when Blaze was here, he drew a lot of views. To give Aaron Blaze credit, he got a lot of views when he was here last. So, you know, that's the case. Parsley is
Yeah.
yes, he's a good man. You want to say something, D'Angelo? Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to just say, me and Delta, we learned from Mr. Paul Levesque. We do that long term,
Yeah.
that slow
But you know what?
cooking.
It works. I'm not complaining. Listen, you know what? Listen, I'm not complaining. Aaron, waited like 3 months. He came on, but you and Jack certainly wait. You definitely have waited, and the people got it. They got the views. I mean, with the comments speak for themselves. Yeah, I love Justin Parsley. He's definitely the hall monitor for a reason. He's a real one. Let's just put it that way, but not Real, Reell. And yeah, congratulations, D'Angelo.
Thank you.
And he's older than James. Well, you know what? Obviously, I didn't know, so now I stand take it back. Yes, congratulations, D'Angelo. Give Timothy Titan a follow on YouTube. He'll be here tomorrow. I believe a match with Ox would be awesome. When I met him, he was very respectful, and I can tell he'd be a safe worker. Yes, I think Ox McCoy, what he did with Kato that was one of the better matches I've seen. Any hardcore guy. I don't care anywhere. I mean, I've had all the big ones on here. Chase Wakefield, why are you saying no way? James Taylor also praises D'Angelo Leflame. I'd love to have that one-on-one with him one day. You never know.
I know, James.
You guys shared locker rooms together. You have been in the same
Multiple
locker
locker
room.
rooms. Multiple
Locker rooms. Yes, multiple locker rooms, and maybe in BYCW. I hear you don't live too far from BYCW. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's where you'll show up. You never know. You and Dalton know each other. Yes, you never know. There you go. We're gonna let you go soon. Don't you worry. Kron, it definitely takes one to know one in this instance. Yeah, that's what we do. God bless my wrestling family. And I love my wrestling family. I love all of my wrestling family because all of my wrestling family matters. And yeah, there you go. All wrestling matters. Thank you, Parsley. Yes, we do. Good job on the 6-man tag, Kron. Yes, we're going to definitely talk a lot about JX, and maybe James will be back this week. Let's see what my voice has for in store. My dream opponents will be when I want to become a wrestler are Darkron, Jacob Collins, and D'Angelo Leflame. You and Zilla would be a dream match. D'Angelo, forget about you and Aaron Blaze. Forget about you and James Taylor, you and Jack Delta, you and Jake Dvorak, Omen Black, you and Justin Parson. I think it's you and Zilla. That's the match I want to see.
Most definitely. I'm gonna make sure me and Zilla bring the house down. Match of the night, main event. Most definitely.
And thank you, Brent. I appreciate you very much. We love all my wrestling family, including Brent. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Yes, yes, we do. Uh, the no sirs tonight. Yeah, they didn't win tonight. Yeah, sorry about the Pacers. Yes, I'm in BYCW, but please don't make it seem like that place is a joke. It's not. I've got personal business with Dartland Skull that I've got to handle. Yes, and I agree that BYCW is definitely a company that we're going to talk a lot more about, and I am very excited about it. And ROEW is also one of those companies. Obviously, we just had your match here in the back. I know you're a very busy man, but so what's next coming up? I know you have other things on your plate, but what's the immediate future like for D'Angelo Leflame?
Um, well, here's the grand reveal. Unfortunately, it's a good and a positive. I will
Oh,
say my time with Memphis is sadly coming to an end, but the good news is I'm moving to Houston.
oh
Um,
wow!
yes, I'm moving to Houston on the 1st, and I will be clearly, I will be going to ROW. Now you
Oh,
Now you really won't be able to see me then, because I know they stuff like Memphis wrestling was strict
up.
about what we can and can't do. ROW, they're most definitely strict, so y'all probably won't see me for a hot minute. But like I said, another big thing I'm planning to do is shoot like more content. I want to get
Okay.
back into doing content, so that's why if y'all have noticed, I kind of cleared out like all
Yep.
of my social medias because I want to just start off fresh. So I will be
Okay.
trying to post like a lot of wrestling content, workouts that I do, just simple stuff. Like I'm gonna have some stuff personally for wrestling, then I'm gonna have some stuff like my personal life, like just I don't know, going out because clearly I'm in a new city, so I'm gonna go out, explore, and try to
That's
find some stuff to
cool.
do.
Houston's a really one of the in the country. It's one of like the almost up and coming cities in the country right now. That's a really big place to go to. That's congratulations.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like when I get down there, I don't want to take a break, but realistically, I might have to, if to get myself situated and all that stuff. But I want to kind of just get there, hit the ground running, go get booked on some shows, and surprisingly, like, and I guess this is my conspiracy theory, but I do believe the government be listening because ever since I said I was going to Houston, all these Houston promotions and Texas promotions in general been popping up on my social media. I done had one
They
guy
actually
reach
do
out to
say
me
that they
on
do actually believe in that. If you like follow certain things on Instagram, your algorithm will gravitate toward that.
one guy already reached out to me. He was like, "Sure, we'll have you and all this stuff," but I still like I want to start completely fresh when I get down there. So a lot of the stuff that I done here and I done in the past, I'm probably just gonna kind of like the biggest change is, you know, what's the number one thing most people see when they see me is clearly the hair. I'm not saying I'm cutting the hair or anything, but I kind of think, I'm in a new area. I kind of want to get a new look.
No, don't
So
do it. No, boo,
I know.
boo,
I'm still hesitant.
boo.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's not set in stone, but like my vision is finally like comb my dreads out and like do braids instead or something like
All
that.
right. Well, don't cut the. Don't people know that's who you said at the beginning of the
I
show?
know.
Got to be true to who you are, and then you're gonna cut your hair. I mean, you know.
Because I do feel like it is time for me to be a little bit more professional when it comes down to doing business with the wrestling and all this stuff. So I've been more like focused on the business aspect of it, I guess you can say. I've been working more on like, like expanding all these seminars I've been to.
Yeah,
I've been
seminars are
taking.
good. Andrew Lovelace goes to them, who's been on here in the past.
I
He
just
goes
left.
he
Matter of
goes
fact,
by them.
before this, I just left a seminar. We had Jazz come,
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
I was talking to her, and she really did help me out. I like that's probably the
You
best
know what I'm
seminar
gonna
I've been
do?
to.
I'll get if you want any advice, I'll give you Gary Wolf's information. I will. I'll do it
Okay,
off the air. I'll give you Gary's info. He'll help you. He knows some of the people in Houston.
because she helped me out a lot. Because I was just telling her like some of the things I was struggling with being with Memphis because back to what I said before is they have a vision for me and I have my own vision for myself. And she was just telling me like, you know, it's okay. Like, of course, it is frustrating that you have this vision, but they don't see the vision. But it's okay at the same time because at least they have a vision for you. Because it's a lot of guys. The bookers and promoters would be like, eh, like we ain't got nothing for you, kid. Like we don't care what you do. And she was like, see it as that. I always been try to see the positive in everything, but when she told me that, it did really help. She was like, just be happy they see something in you. They see something you can do instead of you just
Yeah.
sitting there wasting your time. They ain't got nothing for you. They don't care to find anything for you. So she did open my eyes on that. The seminar was good. It wasn't your traditional like how they sit there and talk to you for 50 plus minutes.
Yeah.
Then you do some simple drill. Like, no, she was one on ones. Hey, I'm Jazz. Let's get into it. We got straight to work. We did some drills, stuff like that. And I will admit, like, that's probably my best seminar I've been to because I've been to a couple. Matter of fact, I just went to another one in Alabama and
Okay.
with teriyaki. And
Yeah.
once again, like I like to his seminar because I guess I'm one of the ones I just want to get to the work. I just want to work. So like him, even though he had my body sore for like a whole week, he made us do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and 100 squats. My body was like dead, but I loved it because that's something that can actually help me in the long run. Like, yeah, look, don't get me wrong, I expect you to talk in the seminar, but truthfully, what you telling me your life story supposed to help? Like, unless it's
It
some like
doesn't
key
help.
moment.
It doesn't. No, you need to learn the repetition. You need to learn the reps. I could read a book. I can go Wikipedia
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
There's some trainers in the past that told me I can talk to you all day, but that don't apply to nothing in the ring. I have to show you. I can tell you how to run off a rope left, right, and center, but you ain't gonna really know until you get in there and run a rope for real.
Yeah.
So I do like so I've been working on that. I got me a little journal now. I've been trying to like plan out some stuff, like plan like legit be more
You
professional
know,
because
some
one
wrestlers
thing
do that on here. Godric Sandwell's big with the journal or the notebook. Andrew Lovelace. There's certain guys that do like you are becoming a wrestler now. You've got the book out now, the journal. Yeah, they
because
guys are big with that. Let me see my
Jazz was
calendar is the
telling me
line.
she was telling me because I told her I was moving to Texas, and she got a school in San Antonio, but unfortunately, like I said, I'm being Houston.
It's
But she
farther,
was
yeah,
telling
farther away.
me like like Texas in general is different from Memphis. They're
Okay.
way more professional. So she was like, you have to come correct when you get out there. Like if you really just want to make it to them, and she was saying even like the lower tier shows, like your low key, your underground and your indie show, like even them, they not just gonna be so lenient as most promotions are. Like you have to come correct. So I'm trying to get myself into that mode now because I don't want to. Hey, I wrestle blah blah blah. And they
Get
okay,
out of
man,
here.
go
Yeah.
shoot, bye.
Yeah.
Like I want to
Yeah, I
come.
know the
Hey,
routine.
this is my resume. I'm D'Angelo Leflame. I wrestled blah blah blah. I've been here. I did all the seminars. I want to come like an actual business because at the end of the day, it is. It's a legit business. And you gotta. And she was saying like number one thing. Your first impressions are everything. So of
Oh
course,
yeah.
I want to make sure I look apart. That's why I want to start. Like she telling me like work out a lot more because
Yeah, Savage talked about that
you
when he
have
was here one
yes
day.
you have to look apart for what you're going like she asked me like what's my character, what's my gimmick and all that. I told her the real raw energy. I'm an energetic guy, blah blah blah. I put the energy in wrestling. She was like, okay, you can be an energetic guy. And she was like, I see it in what we done in training and all that. You show flash because for me, and this is one of my pet peeves, they get on to me constantly. They tell you to treat practice like a real match. Me, I
Yeah.
am anti that. I don't know why, but I just don't feel like why should I go as hard in practice?
You
But
know,
they
that's
have told me,
that's the Allen Iverson line about practice, but you gotta
yeah,
listen. I know what you're saying, but you know,
yeah, I understand. And eventually it will finally click, or maybe that be the reason for my downfall. But um she was telling me just like, because the number one thing they tell you is if you half assing it, in practice you're gonna half-ass it in the actual ring. And
Yeah,
I agree.
well, it is. Well, some people feel that way because they look at it like, going back to basketball. I remember, when I was in basketball, and we didn't run drills, and we used to play with the medicine ball, and if we didn't go full throttle with the medicine ball, my coach was always like, "Well, you're not going to go out there and box out." I remember we would practice, we'd all sit around, and we'd have to learn how to like box out. We
Mhm.
imagine. And it's the same thing in wrestling. If you're going to go out and in a practice or a simulated match, I guess from their vantage point, they feel if you're not going to be D'Angelo Leflame, then you're not going to be D'Angelo Leflame. And, I don't know, but it's what they think, I
Yeah,
guess.
because I understand where they're coming from, but once again, from like my point of view is I feel like if I go too hard in the practice match, that puts me at a higher risk of hurting myself.
True.
Because
True.
you put more stress and intensity, wear and tear on your body, up in the
Yeah.
chances of you getting hurt. But of course, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I understand where they come from, but it just for me, I personally feel like that's not the best move for me personally. And now, of course, anybody else, do what you please. Do whatever helps you be better at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Um,
know. I guess you'll have to figure it out. I mean, I think ultimately you're going there. I think it's great. I think Houston's a great city. I think you're going to do great there. I hope you don't cut your hair, by the way. I really hope you don't cut your hair, because people are so used to you with your hair. And I think that your hair is your personality, at least with you. And I think that you're going to really, I think people are just excited to see that you'll be doing some things. I think it's understandable if, like, look, we don't see you maybe for a bit in the underground because of other things. But I think for where you're going, it's the right move because we talked about this when you come on throughout last year. You were always going to be, moving up the ladder. You had the look, you had the want, you love this sport, you think about it 24/7, and I think that that's really the move for you. I mean, obviously, yeah, we'll see you at the Wakefield thing. Maybe you'll do a spot IMF here and there or whatever else. But really, Houston is where, and we know who comes out of Houston: Booker T. We know Roxanne Perez. We know the recent. So, like for you, that's the rung up. I mean, we've seen, Mr. Blaine from Memphis, what he's done. We've seen other guys that you shared locker rooms with. Look at Rage. Look at what he's done. I mean, so you look at just some of your peers that you did share a locker room with, and they have made the journey. And I think that it's time for you to fully do the same. And I think we're all supportive of you because we know the kind of person you are. And before we sign off, and I know people are going to remember what you said about the wedding match, but I don't think it really was anything out in the ordinary. You spoke like a wrestler. I mean, it's because of who you are, maybe, but what I'm going to remember tonight is that you have evolved. And I think that we finally gotten to see you here tonight and to be able to talk about D'Angelo LaFlame not sputtering. You were here, I know, a couple times this year in cameos, but it felt like you were sputtering. I don't feel tonight you're sputtering anymore. When you were here in November, you had an injury, you came back, you sort of were involved in something. I'm not going to go down that road. You did a little couple spots here and there in an indie company, and you were sputtering. But tonight, I don't feel you're sputtering anymore. I feel that there's a level of just that path that you need to be the real raw energy. And I think people might focus on Aaron Blaze being compared to some dude. I'm not going down that road, or, what other people haven't gone to, or what you felt about being in the ring and the other food groups. But I think really what I learned tonight is that you are finally no longer sputtering. And what's great about you tonight is that the last few weeks, the people that I've had on are moving up the ladder. I see Savage, right? Savage just wrestled Tommy Invincible. He's wrestling now in these places like 814 Wrestling, Battlefield Pro. He's moved on. Day Jameson, right? Another peer of yours, is moved on from the backyard, wrestling the artist formerly known as Fuego del Sol. Joey Knight, who was in James Taylor's promo wrestling company. He's now trained. He's a trained wrestler out of Arkansas, HCW, won a hardcore title, beat the Sandman, not that one. He's moved on. So what I'm seeing is that, and what I'm liking is guys who want to move on are successful at it. And I think you're going to join those guys. You're going to join those guys in doing things. And that's what I learned tonight. Tonight was really, to me, what I'm going to remember was this was a celebration about you. Yes, I know you've done spots. You've been on the big TV. You've been out there in extra spots, whether it was TNA or, Memphis and anywhere, Arkansas. But to me, I feel like that just like when Savage was here on Monday, that I look at you as differently now because I think you're now on the right track to being where you should be. And that's being a professional wrestler. And that's, I think, your destiny. And I think what we all learned tonight was this was a celebration of what D'Angelo Leflame has done for our community. You were the example of the All Wrestling Matters movement. You went everywhere. You went to locker rooms that people, a lot of people didn't like when you went to Alabama. A lot of people didn't like them. People didn't like them because the guy who was the champion there didn't like him. I liked him. I liked the company. I thought it was good. They treated you right. It was a great looking company, but there were people that didn't like it. You went to Massachusetts, which was great because you opened them up to being, I think, here a little more. You certainly were a part of Summer Bash in that history. You went to Iowa, and that goes without saying. Now you're going to be in Pennsylvania with Chase Wakefield, his wedding, and you're going to get a chance to connect with a lot of the DBW guys, which I think DBW has been, right there side by side with a lot of these companies. So you have been front and center with the All Wrestling Matters movement. You have been right there. And tonight to me was a recap and a celebration of what you've done. But now we close this book on what you've done, but we start the next chapter on where you're going. And I'm reminded by a line in Mission Impossible. Don't see the movie if you don't want to hear this, but there are 3 things about the future that will make the future successful, and you're going to have them. It's kindness, trust, and moral compassion. You've got all 3 of them. You might be a little hard, I think, a little bit on certain things, but the truth is that you've got that, and we've all got that for you. You've got that trust. We all trust you. You've got that kindness, and you gave that moral compassion about speaking what was on your mind. And I think that's why the future is going to be very, very successful for you. And before we sign off, I agree with Mr. Kron. You will definitely be somewhere, and I think it's going to be quicker than 3 to 5 years. I want to also say hello to Il Drago. Love my High Chief, my Samoan Dragon. Can't wait to see my Samoan Dragon again. And hopefully you guys see each other again. And hello. Comatose is in the house, who's, certainly going to have his things with Aaron Blaze, I'm sure. Hello. Congratulations, Leflame. You're going to exceed at all you do. Hopefully you get out and stay out of any ruts. Praying you always find some middle ground with future promoters. May God bless you with everything you do. Amen to that. Will we still be able to watch you somewhere? It's a good question.
Um, most Memphis probably not. I just feel like clearly, I probably would have been on Memphis television by now, but ever since I had to let them know I was moving. I doubt they're gonna do anything with me. If they do throw me in some matches, it's gonna be probably just making somebody else look good, and that's fine. Cause I have pitched the idea multiple times. Like I need to be in some matches to I guess you could say I kind of politicked. I told him like I need to be in some matches before I go. I gotta go down there and show him something, so I need to be in some
Yeah.
matches. So yeah, I
Yeah.
had to do a little politic, and I'm like, hey, book your boy. But
No, I don't blame you.
um,
Listen, and every wrestler is supposed to stick up for themselves. I've never heard of anybody, and by the way, in anything in life, I've never heard of anybody just standing around waiting for the door to be open. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's
like
through wrestling. It doesn't work that way in life. Trust me on
like
that.
we talked about earlier, nothing is gonna be handed out. You got to go out there and fight for yourself. And truthfully, that's what I'm doing right now. Oh, because true, like with Memphis, I love everything they have done for me since I've been there, but I just generally don't think I would be a good fit for Memphis. and I'm taking this risk. Well, I'm forced to take this risk. It's not like I can just say no to moving, but I'm taking this risk to legit like bet on myself. I've proved myself time, like I've surprised myself and proved myself time and time again.
Yeah.
Clearly, what, a year, probably 2 years now. It's been a while, but I had to try out. So
Yep.
clearly, I got it. I feel like now with the knowledge I know now, I probably maybe would have made it, and I will allegedly. Well, because no, and not even allegedly, it didn't happen. So, like a month ago, I poor timing, basically poor timing. So I missed out on a show in Hawaii, and I missed out on another tryout. So, but of course,
Ooh.
it stung. Don't get me wrong, it stung. But hey,
Yeah. People
another
can hear.
opportunity will happen.
Well, you know what? Listen, don't get yourself down over it. Don't beat yourself up for it. I'm telling you, you're gonna get there. I got faith in you, and we all got faith in you. And yep, people just they love. They're so happy to see you here tonight. I can just that's. I'm telling you, I really feel like now I've gotten more comments tonight from you compared to like even the last 10 days. People were just. This is what they've been waiting for. And Darkron has, yes, he has done journals, and I guess they are still such a thing. I stand corrected. Yes,
Because
hello, hello to everybody.
I have no
And
problem, helping anybody out. Like if you
and
need
boy,
some volunteer.
Justin has, I know Justin's upset that he lost to that kid, but we're not even going to talk about that, but he's talking about the name you mentioned. Yeah, but I don't know. I've heard different things that he's trying to, he just wants to wrestle now, and
Yeah,
that's his
like
thing. I don't know.
me personally, I haven't really talked to ATK like that. Maybe like once or twice, but
Yeah, he was like,
I know
you know
Aaron
what? My
don't like
problem was
him.
he
So
was all of a sudden, he was beating up people that came here, beating this up. And my
yeah,
last conversation
'cause-
with him was like, he needed help with something. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, we talked, we were always friendly on Instagram. I never had a problem with him. And all of a sudden, he's,
yeah,
look, he
because
was throwing a company
a
line, but
while
I don't know, man.
back, I want to say me and ATK posed to share the locker room, but it just never happened.
Yeah,
I don't know what
I
happened,
don't
but
know him personally. See, I don't know him,
yeah,
but I
I only
know
talked to him like once or twice.
but I think what you did was because he went to the place that Blaze went to, and they gave him, what you talked about with Blaze, but he went to a company that, I'm just not, I have no comment on that. And I have no comment. I wish the kid well, and, like,
Yeah,
that's it. You move on. I got other things to worry about. And thank you very much for that. But yeah, listen, you're going to do great things. I really believe that. I've taken way too much of your time.
I
I
know.
just, I know I could ask you a million things, but I can't because you really you just train for and you have a life. But is there anything else you want to say before closing thoughts? Anything else you want to get off your
Yes.
chest that we haven't? Talk to me. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Um, let's just do a little recap, guys. First thing we started off is mental health. Yes, I understand it's mental health month, but don't let it just be this month is the reason why you focus on it. Because I really was happy to come back to show y'all like this is real life. Not everything is peaches and cream. Like I'm always open book, so I have no problem
Yeah.
sharing my lows. I don't have no problem sharing my highs, my good days and bad days. Because the little cameos I did do, I was really in a depressed state, but
You were not. Yeah, it was like you weren't
I was a bit like I
D'Angelo.
wasn't I wasn't myself, and I
No.
did have to sit there and fight and claw to get my little spark back. Because truthfully, like right now, I'm not fully 100%,
But at
but
least I
I'm
feel like
definitely
this
way
is
better than what I
D'Angelo
was.
Leflame. But I feel like at least I'm talking to you. When you were here
Yeah,
those 2 times this year, I didn't
and
feel
I
like it
just
was you.
want people to understand like life is gonna get hard regardless of who you is, how old, how young. It do not matter. Life is gonna get hard, but the biggest thing you have to remember, you got to get through it. It's just
Yeah.
another day. One day you're gonna be sad, but the next day, like I said, I try to live a no regret lifestyle. I try to see everything in the most positive light that I can. And that's the mindset I feel like most people should have. Like, well, all but most people, because realistically, people go do tougher things.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I did try to see it like that. Like, yes, I'm struggling and all that, but it's somebody out there that's 10 times worse than me. So, I try to see the positive, like, hey, I'm still fighting that good fight. Because some people can't. Some people,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they
Tribal
lose that
Cheese talked
battle.
about it. He walked away from wrestling. Mental
Yeah.
health's a
And
big thing in
I've
the world.
done
He
that
walked away.
before, but not in the wrestling aspect. Like when I went to college, I was so out of it. I legit got up and left and dropped out right then and there. But once again, I didn't sit there and just deal with it. It took a minute. I fought back, crawled, and went back to college and graduated. It's like everybody got to learn. Just keep fighting. Life is gonna be hard, but it's okay. Just keep fighting.
Yeah.
One thing like I personally struggle with now, and not even just wrestling wise, like just personally, I don't have that much support in my life, but I try to support everybody else around me. Now bringing it back to wrestling, you know,
Yeah, you
a
could
lot of
always
a lot of
message
my
me more. Why don't you message me more often? I'll talk to you. You're D'Angelo Leflame. I mean, if you
I
message me on
know,
Instagram.
Tom, but at the same time, and I'm pretty sure most people like this, you don't want to come off as a burden. I'm pretty sure
No, you're D'Angelo
everybody
Laflame. You kidding?
that's
You're not
everybody's go to.
D'Angelo
I don't want to be a
Laflame. No,
burden.
no.
I don't want to be a
You're
burden,
D'Angelo,
but
but you're D'Angelo Laflame. You can message me 24 hours a day. I'll take your messages gladly.
it just you know, wrestling wise, I don't truthfully have a lot of support, but that's how I always like. Anytime it's something I actually wanted to
But
do.
tonight you had all these people here tuned in
Well,
for you.
of
It sounds
course,
like
I'm just saying,
wait.
like from my personal loved ones or
Oh
my
yeah, no. You
my
know what?
yeah
I got to be honest. That is common for a lot of people. I'm
yeah
doing this 6.5 years, and when I started doing this, I had a background in politics. My friends in politics were like, they thought it was a joke. My mother didn't hated me doing the
yeah
podcast. Now, oh, I knew you were going to be great. I knew you were going to get
yeah,
to the big. So you
and
gotta
that's
like
the stage. That's the
when
stage
you
I'm in.
accept that, you got to accept it and just focus on what you do, because when you get over, because I went through this same thing, when you sometimes feel like you don't have like the immediate family or friend support, but once you get over that, you'll be fine. Because I went through that. Trust me, started doing this. I wasn't very good. I know Ox was laughing earlier, yesterday's show, but I mean, really, most people don't. So that's not an unnormal thing. So that's once you get over the like maybe lack of immediate family support, when you know that, as Justin, by the way, he was right on this, your wrestling family does support you, and that wrestling family you got tonight seems like they're as big as any family out there, and they got you back. And I think that when
Yeah,
you're in that moment of need, there's a whole lot of people here tonight that tuned in that they would hear from you anytime.
yeah, because I'm not afraid to admit it. Like I talk to a lot of people, a lot of the wrestling family behind the scene, and you know, either they helping me out with some or I'm helping them out because I do strongly believe you have to go out there and just make friends. Like I get it, we're
Yeah.
a scary
Look
place.
at the
I
platform we are
absolutely
on tonight, right?
understand,
Look at
but
this, right? We're here, and so many wrestlers came on tonight because how much they thought about you. I do shows every night, and I know that there are certain audiences that the wrestling fam, the core Sportswire, right? You think about the core last few years, right? I know that not every show they're going to tune into. There are certain shows that might get, some people, others it's for a different audience, but you bring out so many people that have been a part of our community, our family, our platform these last few years. And that's why they were so delighted and excited to see you, because, like I said, I'm here, but really, you and all these people in the chat specifically, they built Sportswire. They built this platform where we get to go and talk and communicate amongst ourselves. Yeah, maybe some shows get more views than others. Maybe some reels get more than others. But really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because what you were a part of and what you helped build the last couple of years is what we have here. And yes, there are different food groups. There are some people that have certain beliefs. Others have different things, but that's okay, because that's what families are. They have disagreements. They have a big tent, and that's why people got your back, and that's why when you feel the way you feel, and I know I agree with you, mental health's a big thing. I know for people it's like I said, tribal cheese, but you got a lot of people here tonight in this chat that you feel what you feel. They got you back, man. And I think tonight showed that this was really, you always got this community's back because you built this community. You did so much to unite this community. You did so much to be a part. And you said famously, I want to bring people together. You famously said on one episode, I want to bring people together. I am here to see what it's like in Alabama. I'm here to see what it's like in Massachusetts. I'm here to see what it's like in Ohio. I'm here to see what it's like in New York and Iowa. And you did that. And that's why there's so many people here that respect you. And there's so many people here that they're here for you. And this was a celebration tonight.
Yeah. And I appreciate everybody. This has been a super long journey, and I appreciate all of y'all. Of course, following me, ups, down, left,
A
rights.
lot of guys, there's a lot of guys here that have gone through problems. Drago's gone through. He's been talking a lot
Yeah.
about mental health on Facebook. If I could say, he's going through issues. Everybody know. I mean, Kron. I mean, with this, God bless this man, Dark Kron. What this poor man is going through. Comatose has recently had his issues. Chase Wakefield walked away from wrestling. People, forget about that. Omen's talked about his mental health issues. He's here. James Taylor, people don't know, or maybe they know fully, or maybe not, about his own family struggles. He's been very open about it. Everybody here, I'm sure, has some problem that they've went through, and that's what brings us all together. And I think that that's why it's so important to have seen you tonight. And at least people remember now, oh, D'Angelo's back. D'Angelo, people always wonder, D'Angelo, when will he be here? D'Angelo, you were here, but like I said, it was like a whimper. I think you didn't go tonight. You went out the way you should be remembered, and I think that that's so important because we were left with a cliffhanger with you for a long time. There was this cloud. Yes, you were here. You did the 2 runs in the IMF, but to me, this was what a lot of people needed, and I think people did need you to be back here on Sportswire because I think even the last several shows, I know we've had some people, show up, but I feel like you were one of the guys that people have missed seeing on here. And I think that it's important to sometimes bring the people that were a part of the platform and who helped build it to be here. And you got a chance before you go to Houston and before you do whatever you do to just be here. And I think tonight, without really realizing it, was a thank you to you. And I don't think we say it enough about you, to thank you for all that you've done for our community, going to these places, going and putting your body out there, the travel. You have a family, responsibility, all these things. You sacrificed a lot to try to unite the community. You
Yeah.
sacrificed more than almost anybody could say ever. I mean, I know it's you and Blaze is billed as the traveler match, but I think people look at you and they look at that you really did try to unify all these different places. And I think you did, because the guys in Massachusetts, they come about it from a different way. They all praised you. Alabama, all the guys at that time praised you. The New York guys, Shockey, Vargas, Banks, Onyx, Grimes, Draven, the longest, loved you. Loved having you. Iowa, Ohio, they're all here for you. So to me, you did so much for our community. We really can't thank you enough. And, tonight was to say thank you. It
I
was.
really appreciate it.
And before we let you go, obviously, yes, and we love Dark Crown. We love our underground OG, and he's here for you. And Justin Parsley said he's here for you, and that's maybe the concussion wearing off, thankfully. And I would rather share my wrestling with my bio family. Nobody ever got into it like us, though. That's why we all have a need, and we do. And I can't wait for my IMF family to come here Thursday, and I'm very excited about them. And we love D'Angelo Leflame and 100, and all right, let me give you the closing thoughts, because I know you want to go to actually spend time with your actual family. I mean, we've spent enough time with you. You don't want to come back after this, but you'll come back. But let's give you the floor. Let's give you some closing thoughts and anything else you want to say before we sign off on a very memorable episode today. I think Ox was right. This was kind of not as too far as the throwback show, but it was kind of a throwback. It wasn't like that, what you saw last year. But I think this was a throwback, and seeing somebody here that we revere. And I pass the baton to you now, sir, with closing thoughts.
Um, Really, the only thing I can say is, um, I will try to, still stay active in the wrestling scene. I don't know It just depends what all I'm allowed to do. If I'm allowed to do other shows, clearly, I'll try to do some other shows to somewhat stay in that light, that frame, so y'all can physically see me or something like that. I still try to travel as well. I'm really banking on, when I get to Houston, the job market is a little bit better. Maybe
Oh,
I
if I
can
told you if
get
I get the
something.
job as the basketball coach, there'll be lots of jobs to create. So let's
Okay.
hope if I get that job, well, as I
Um,
said, we'll see.
of course, focus on your mental health.
Yes, please.
Don't be afraid to take risk, and please don't be afraid to believe in yourself. Don't expect, like, it will be people out there that truly believe in you. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but don't sit here and just expect everybody to believe in you. Not a lot of people going. A lot of people actually gonna be banking on you to fail. So you have to believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to take them risks. If you feel like this is my chance to do this, take it. Try to live a no regret lifestyle. But when I say that, you have to be realistic. Be prepared for the consequences, cause and effect, reaction, whatever way you want to put it. You can live a no regret lifestyle, but you have to understand what comes with it. It's a lot of
yeah,
stuff that I don't regret, but it has bit me in the butt in the past. It has
yeah.
put me in, tight situations. And, I don't sit here and get mad or upset about it, because at the end of the day, who made that choice? I made that choice. So I
Hey,
have no choice but to deal with it. Um, Back to like training. If you want to get better, go to school and get better. You don't have to go travel and be pro and all that. If you want to go back to the yard and just be like, hey, I crisped I crisped my basics, that's cool. If you want to take it, like, all serious, like, that's fine. If
it
you
was a
do want
clever
to
line.
make it to the indies and pros, that's cool as well. But you have to have that drive. You have to. I would personally say, go ahead and work on being more professional. Like, go ahead and
Yeah,
get that out of the way. So I would say, if you genuinely want to take it to them next levels, indies, pros, whatever, go to them seminars. You take your notes. You
yeah.
sit there and start building your resume. Come try to work on better matches. It might not be the most flashiest matches. The ones that more technically sound, or that the ring psychology was there. Don't just pick. Oh, I did a 450 in this match. I'm gonna put that, because they don't care. I'll be
No,
so
it's
serious.
not about that. No,
I
I've heard that
look.
often.
When I first started training at this school, I'm like, oh, I'm finna be that guy. I'm finna do this Cody cutter, and I'm gonna have them go crazy. And be like, oh, I ain't never seen somebody this tall do this Cody cutter. Man, they didn't give a damn. They were like, can you do your roles right? And yeah, like, that's just the
That's like in
hard truth.
basketball. Listen, they didn't care about can you dunk, can you hit the three. It was like, can you hit layup, can you
Do
box
you know
out,
the
can you
fundamentals,
hit a
basically?
screen? Yeah, I mean it's the same. It's like anything else in life. Can you do the things on a day in and day basis? It's simple advice, but it's stuff that I think we're all going to be excited about. And again, you want to follow D'Angelo. He is on Instagram. Check him out. Also, Doc Holliday, the man you know very well, did want to say hello, and he is in the NEW roster now, and I'm very
Yes, sir,
excited
Mr.
about that. We'll get
Holiday.
love Doc Holliday. I will get him on soon, and he was late to the
Um,
party, but he'll go back and watch the footage. It'll be a memorable one. Let's just put it that way. But obviously, look, we've talked enough with you. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for being so generous of your time tonight. I hope that we'll get you on here after you move to Houston. Good luck to you there. God bless. And if you ever do need anything, please message me anytime. Doesn't even just to message. If there's something on your mind, you just let me know. Feel free to text me anytime. And anybody here in the chat, they're all rooting for you. And, thank you for bringing our wrestling family back together here on Sportswire. And we needed to see you, and we definitely delivered. And thank you, Zilla. Zilla loved the show. Zilla, thank you, Zilla. Zilla always giving us the best points of the night. Thank you, Zilla. Zilla is definitely the person that should take over for Sportswire. But I digress. It has been one for the ages. Thank you for everything you've done. I will give you this certificate when we're off the air. And I hope you
okay.
won't be a stranger. And please don't cut your hair. Please don't cut your hair.
I I probably won't cut the hair, but the hair might change for a little bit.
All right. Well,
Um,
you know what? I'll let your trainers figure that out. But obviously, if I do get the job as the basketball coach, you're definitely not cutting your hair. But don't count on that because I have a feeling I'm going to have to play politics, and that's I don't know about that. But thank you, everybody. D'Angelo, so good to see you. Welcome home. Don't be a stranger, and can't wait to see you out there in Houston. And I agree with Il Drago, my high chief, my Samoan dragon. And one love to you sincerely. And I acknowledge El Drago and I acknowledge you, D'Angelo Leflame, as my real raw energy. And thank you. God bless. And we'll see you soon.
all right. Bye bye, everybody. Enjoy y'all.
That's D'Angelo Leflame, the real raw energy. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, in case you forgot. And this is our show here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with between 9:30 and 10 with Timothy Titan, the owner of Money Mark Media, the Indie Vision podcast, and also with Express and Excel Wrestling. We'll be talking about Friday's show there with Pitts Dave Jameson against this guy formerly known as Fuego del Sol. But until then, follow D'Angelo on Instagram. Check out IMF on YouTube, Facebook. The IMF guys are all back here Thursday night. Check out all the companies D'Angelo has worked in that we can mention here on Sportswire Radio. And good luck to him. And thank you. Hit the sub button for us if you haven't yet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening of you are. Oh, and the number one, Global Radio, the Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you. See you tomorrow, everybody.